remember feeling like this. Got the sun walking my life. Day and the deed of the form of life. That's the shame how we ain't gonna learn the dreams. Not afraid, not afraid to let you up your sleeve. And your man, this is all my folks. Got high for the days that they were lost and broke. Got by on the right to stop the different props. Came from the block of only buying the crops. And your thing, Mary Jane. When the world starts to stress you out, what you do when the cancer stick up in your mouth? Oh, so the door, the fact remains. The government's been taxing that. Getting paid, the taxable is cool to slow. Killing not, and the alcohol is killing folks. Do not, I'm trying to make it bad, but you're not. With my situation, it's sad. I know I got a true friend with my time in need. All I need, your natural, your couple seeds. I believe make you happy when I'm feeling big. Once again, makes me happy just to hear your name. Your name, every day. Just to hear your name. Every change, you see the rest of feeling strange. He's a company to keep you sane. Never change, nothing every change. I need to get you through this thing. To the game, you ain't never made it, that's my thing. Anything you've always kept me tame. Everything for me to see that you are everything. Every chain helps to ease the brain. When you pain, there is seasons you ain't never changed. Stay the same, never seen what people seen in speed. That's the need, everything you need. The thing, baby, true indeed. Do your thing, every day. Happy just to hear your name. Every day, do your thing. Peace. What's going on in the chat room, man? Well, I want to salute everybody, man. Salute to the comrades for showing up. Hey, man, I had to bring Tony Maceo on for part 2. He really blessed me with a lot of game. Part 1 of the interview, we couldn't finish it, but it was paramount for me to get him back on, man. This brother,
To be honest, I didn't even know he had a channel, man. So I put his channel in the description box. So he's over on Mac City with Big Mike, but he also has a channel as well. So you guys can subscribe, pardon me, to Tony Maceo, um, Power and Strategy channel. Also, powerandstrategy.com is his website, man. Good stuff. You can become a Patreon over there as well. He also writes for the Negro Manosphere. I mean, the guy's doing this thing, man. And, so he took a little time out his day to bless me. Tony Maceo, Nigga Fuchsius, Tony Dreamer, whatever you want to call him, man. 75. I call him 75. I call him 75. And if you guys know anything, you know why we call him 75. But we're gonna go ahead and start the interview, man. Start the show. The Nerve of These Negroes, part 3. And I'm gonna be honest, man. I was in a mood to do some ball rubbing this morning. But I changed up my tone, man, because I received an email from a young brother. And the young brother, man, he basically told me, 20 years old, from an abusive background. I'm not gonna say his name, but I hope he's watching or I hope he's listening. Somebody told him about my channel and how I break things down. And he heard my story, man, and I sent him an email, some encouraging words. But basically, I told him, man, these tough times, embrace it, embrace the adversity. I know it sounds crazy, man, but these are the times that's going to build your character. These are the moments you're never going to forget. Young brother was telling me he was living in a car and times was tough and he was thinking about doing something stupid. And I said, no, don't fuck up your life. Hold it down. Embrace this time. You know, when adversity come to my door, I let it in, man. You got to deal with it. Think your way through, step by step. Think. That's what I told them. Stay focused. It's a lot of Negroes focus on dumb shit. They ain't put no fucking paper in their pocket. A lot of niggas focus on stupid shit, man. I always tell guys, you gotta stay focused on the battlefield, man. I'm just not out here talking. I live this shit, man. I live this shit. Sir Trick said 75 and not $1 more. No, not $1. Well, like you can give tips. We give tips. We give tips, but we gonna go ahead and start, man. And the first question I got for brother Tony Maceo, man, I really want to get your opinion on the climate right now of the manosphere. Your honest opinion, what's going on. 2019 has been crazy. It started off with a bang. So a lot of things going on this week, and I decided to stay out of that shit. That's low level shit. To be honest, it's really none of my fucking business, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. But I'm gonna let Tony give his spill on what he think is going on right now. Really break it down for you Negroes. What's up, Tony?
Hey, what's happening, bro? What's
Hey,
going
hey,
on?
hey, 75.
I
That's your
got 75.
75.
I got 75. But no, man, it depends on what area of the manosphere you're talking about. Over there at the Negro manosphere, which I think is the real black manosphere, is being held down properly. O'Shea Duke Jackson is holding court, doing his thing. Angry Man is doing his thing. Um, there is, what I call the normal world of the manosphere, and then there's the nether world. The nether world of the black manosphere is descending into insanity and severe convulsions of delusion, fantasy from reality. Um, it's become acidic, and that rage is beginning to consume them, and so they're just slowly losing touch with reality. And you'll see the people, you know who they are. Don't have to call their name. You'll see them. You can find them screaming incessantly. You'll find them going off incessantly about really just low greaseball shit. I mean, shit that's self-evident, shit that's axiomatic. But as far as the manosphere is concerned, man, these brothers are getting a mic. for the first time in their lives, and some of them deserve a mic. Some of them need to have their mics hidden. Some of them need to have their mics buried. Some of them need to have their mics dismembered. Some of them need to have their mics uh, uh, totally burned up. So I mean, it's a 50-50 thing. Brothers are getting their voice, they're finding their voice. So it's going to be up to the listeners. It's going to be up to the listeners. This is a form of college. Just like in college, they will what they do in college is, a lot of times, not all the time, but most of the times, they will allow speakers of various political ideologies to come in. They don't censor their lecturers. They don't censor the people that come in and make speeches at the college, because as an adult, as a collegiate person, or as a college student, you're responsible for deciphering valid ideas from invalid ideas, productive ideas from counterproductive ideas. That's your responsibility as a young adult, to determine what is fruitful, what is unfruitful. So YouTube has become like that. Now you got a lot of these voices out here, and so it's going to be up to you to decipher what is fruitful, what is nihilistic, what you should be listening to, and what's just straight bullshit. So it's going to come down to, as for the state of the manosphere, it's based upon the listeners. Who are the listeners uh, giving credence to? Who are the listeners giving shine to? That's going to be up to them to determine. But me, it's 50-50 with me. A percentage of it is good to go. A lot of that shit is just pure acid. It's pure bile. And it's because you have oppressed and emasculated men. For the first time, when you give power to the powerless, you got a lot of men that have been emasculated by women. And so now they're getting the opportunity for the first time to check women on YouTube, even when they couldn't check them face to face. That's some sucker shit. But be that as it may, here they are. So
Yeah, man. You know, that's a good comment, man. Hey, make sure y'all hydrate, niggas. Y'all give me 1 second. Make sure y'all hydrate, niggas. But real talk, man. Like I say, I see what's going on right now, Tony, and I stayed away from that shit for a reason. I always say I got my principles, man, and that's just I don't want to bring negative energy to See Boogie Productions right now. I touch on certain things when I'm inspired. I make videos when I'm inspired. I've tried to make videos on demand before, where guys would email me and ask me what I thought about certain things, and those were the videos I had to take down because I was forcing it. I was reaching. I wasn't inspired. There wasn't nothing in my spirit to talk about that. And I said, okay, this is how I'm gonna run my channel. When I move to do something, it's pretty much when I talk about it. And but we gonna go ahead and push a little bit forward, man. First, I want to ask you a couple questions about the Black community, man. See, I talked to a lot of older guys in my life because I was born in '87. I was born after the crack era, right? And from what I was told, the crack era was the nail in the coffin. I was told before the crack era, you still had a community holding on by strength. But a lot of the older guys told me once crack hit the communities, it was a wrap. I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that, bro.
crack was a continuation of some shit that had already started. It was the evolution, what I call the evolution of devolution. You got to remember, man. I was born in '71, so I was a '70s baby. I was getting ready to graduate high school when you were born.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm dating myself, but nevertheless, man, crack was the evolution of a devolution. The '60s, the 1960s and '70s, that scared the hell out of the establishment, man. That really frightened them. They were really concerned about the possibility, like they joke about it now, talking about the crazy left and, the hippies and free love movement. But they were really concerned about this country falling, you know. And so, to a great extent, they were more, shockingly enough, they were more afraid of Martin Luther King Jr. than they were of anybody else. Now, I know that's hard for people to believe, but they blew his face off as proof
of their concern. But anyway, the system was really frightened of the upheaval. They were frightened of all the protests. They were frightened of the pushback against the Vietnam War. They were afraid of that shit. So what they did was they regrouped. They went back into the lab, as Rakim would say, and they came out with a plan of propaganda. I think it was the Attorney General, John Mitchell, that said that this country was going to go so far to the right that you wouldn't recognize it. So when you understand that and you understand what happened during that era, at the period, at the not just the civil rights movement, but it produced several derivations or several derivatives and spinoffs. When you understand that, then you begin to understand why low grade heroin came into the black community and the supply lines by which it came into the black community. You began to understand the purpose for somebody like, let's say, a Frank Lucas. See, he was already destroying Harlem, you know, before the crack era. So the next niggas that came along after him, the Nicky Barnes, the Guy Fishers, and all of the hustlers of that era, it was just, the continuation of what they were doing. So after, they had allowed the heroin trade to totally wreck the black community, they swept them niggas up, gave them football number sentences, and put them in prison, but their distributors were still on the streets. So then what happened is when the 80s came in, Ronald Reagan came in, and he came in with all that shit about deregulation, which is bullshit because everything has rules. And so about 3 or 4 years into his presidency, now here comes crack. And many people, now cocaine had always been sort of a status symbol. People were always snorting it as powder. It was something that the rich people had. And it was just like heroin was at a period of time during the, I would say, mid to late 60s, or excuse me, the mid to early 60s. Heroin was a rich man's drug. It wasn't something that they had access to. But what happened is that when crack came along, they found a way to cook that shit, and they were saying that it was cheaper, it was smokable, and the high was more euphoric, it was longer lasting, and it was more addictive. The late Gary Webb's book, Dark Alliance, talks about this. And you began to see the same patterns. The niggas that were the so-called players and the fly boys, they got swept up into prison. They got killed, got knocked off, went to prison, and then a new breed, a new group came in. So when crack came in, crack was the continuation of what was already going on. It was already what was happening. And I think it was Richard Nixon's attorney, I think it was either Haldeman or Ehrlichman, the guys that got busted in Watergate. They said that the war on drugs was a pretense for a war on black people. I mean, they made no bones about that. They said it straight up. This is what it was. And if you understand that, you understand how the crack trade was a continuation of that war on drugs. So what you had was when Reagan came into office, you had deregulation, you had the unions being broken. It was like the Charles Dickens tale. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. You had a lot of people out of work. You had a very, very high unemployment level. When Ronald Reagan came into office, we were a creditor nation. When he left, we were in debt. We were a debtor nation. And so when crack came in, they found all new marketing systems. Of course, they went after the young people. And so when they allowed these guys, like I heard a rhyme from Nas. Nas says, well, the drugs kept the hood from starving. And I'm like, what hood are you talking about? I mean, really, what hood were you talking about? The crack trade didn't change or didn't alter the black community to such an extent that everybody in the black community had a livable income. What you had here, it produced a small pool of millionaires until the time as the market was saturated. Then when the market was saturated, then when white people started doing it, and it started to become a plague with them, then they started asking and crying out for all these long sentences, lock these niggas up and throw away the key. They implemented federal mandatory minimum sentencing. And then you had all these people that created these small businesses were gone. They were gone, and they were in prison or either dead. And these businesses collapsed. The buildings were dilapidated. They weren't kept up. They became eyesores. And as a result, the property value of the community deteriorated. And where there's deteriorating structures, you're going to have these predatory economic institutions like check cashing institutions in the black community that, that's it's really some low key usury shit. All of this came with the drug trade. It was like a predator economy. After they got rid of the niggas that were selling this shit, in came the rest of the vultures to pick the carcass clean, so to speak. That's, again, that's the foreigners, that's the Koreans, that's the East Indians, that's the Arabs. Now, some of these ethnicities, to be sure, they were already in the black community. They were
Let me
already
ask you
there.
one question real quick, Tony, before you go on, because I want to try to connect some dots. Now, after
Okay.
integration, now
Mhm.
after integration happened, did what did the affluent African American people do? What
Well, you got to let's start here. A lot of people have come to this narrative that integration destroyed the black economy, and there's some truth to that, but there are other moving parts. Integration came in and decentralized the black dollar in the black community, but it really didn't do the damage that a lot of people say that it did. For instance, for example, Black Wall Street, that the Tulsa riot was 1921. Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't born until 1929. See, what they don't tell you is that black people had economic power, but they didn't have any political or feudal or military power. It's the same thing John Hope Franklin said is the reason that Reconstruction fell. Yes, you had economic power. I will never deny that, but we had no way to protect it. We had no way to defend it. So, for instance, if you take something like a Tulsa, when those white people rioted and burned those communities down, when those black people tried to rebuild the community, the city came in and said that they couldn't rebuild these businesses because they couldn't produce fireproof buildings. Now, that's ridiculous. There's no such thing as a fucking fireproof building. But the city said that because you couldn't produce a fireproof building, they enacted all these ordinance codes to stop these businesses from rebuilding. And then they couldn't get the insurance companies to pay on the damage that was done by, the white mob, because the insurance companies turned around and told their black clients that you're at fault for this. In essence, because you were so successful, you inflamed their insecurities and their hostilities. Therefore, we're not going to pay you.
That's it.
You understand?
That is exactly correct, Tony Maceo. I've been sitting here listening to you for a couple of seconds. You banging this shit on the head like there's no tomorrow. That's exactly correct. What we did not have was control of the coercive forces of the state and municipality in which to protect yourselves. We did not have control of the coercive forces. So therefore, those coercive forces are your state police, your municipal law enforcement agencies and so forth. They in fact turned around and became a part of that mob. What you saw there was a disintegration of civilization, and they turned themselves into, in fact, de facto animals, savages, barbarians, and burned down your town. And the coercive forces of your state that are supposed to protect you did not. You actually, at that point in time, civilization did not exist for you. Civilization broke down, and they destroyed what you had. So you had no civilization because you couldn't protect yourself. Even if you had your own militia, where you had people who actually came in from foreign areas and came in on the Tulsa raid to destroy it. Foreign forces came in to help to destroy black people. That's precisely what happened, and I don't think a lot of people really want to sit down and deal with that for exactly what it was. But if you don't have coercive forces of the state, like Tony just broke down to you, it's going to be very hard to protect what you have. You have to have the coercive forces of the state working with you, or your municipality, or your government to help to protect what you have. We did not have that. We were in a de facto uncivilized society and culture. They were uncivilized.
My
That's what you were dealing with. Go ahead.
my partner Matt calls it the law of tooth and claw. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a means to protect what you have, you're just fooled. I
Yeah,
did an
yeah.
article on the Negro Manosphere where I was talking about where I did it. Roland Martin actually hit me back when I said this, and I told him that politics without economic power means nothing. You are the Democratic Party's booty call. You know, they gonna creep around with your ass in the darkness of night, but you like an ugly bitch when sunlight come. They want you gone.
These are
So,
facts, and
so
your
you know,
politics and economics supposed to go hand in hand.
supposed to go hand in hand.
When
So
these white people have elections and they win, these are not just, hey, my candidate won. These are payoffs. This is payday. These guys, there's economic remuneration for the winners who win this,
I mean,
and
why do you think they spend
that's
so
something.
much money on
Yeah.
Capitol Hill lobbying?
It-
They're up
it-
there buying. They tricking. They buying hoes.
and what they're trying to do is keeping you off the whole train because they are suppressing your vote. You have some extraordinary ignorant niggers who are running around saying, "Oh, that's fake news." Don't even know the facts. Don't understand why they suppress your vote. Don't understand why they don't want you voting and getting involved in voting your interest because they know that ultimately that's going to move into economics because your politics and economics are supposed to work hand in hand. And this is why they're trying to suppress your vote, tell you shouldn't be voting. You should be sitting down and sitting on your ass. And you have these ignorant people sitting here telling you that when they don't even understand the institutions of power, gaining power and maintaining power in this country exist. They don't understand it.
Well,
They don't understand it. But yet
that's
they're out here telling you that. Go ahead.
that's the thing I had with that. That was the hole I saw in Boyce Watkins' plan. That article was an analysis because Roland Martin was saying politics. Boyce Watkins was saying economics. And I said, no, you got to have both of them and you got to have the police powers.
That's right.
If you do not have both of them with the police powers, you don't have anything. If you
Mm-hmm.
have economic power, you can have all the economic power you want to, but if you don't have anybody, you don't have any way or any means to protect that shit. You're a walking victim. They're going to steal that shit from you at any time they feel like it, and you'll be right back in the situation that you're in. So I said that Boyce Watkins' position was shallow because it didn't speak to anything having to do with police powers. And Roland Martin shit was there was a hole in his argument because there was no way you got nothing from it. You got nothing for voting for the Democratic Party. You got nothing for voting for these various people that came in. You know, they'll come on the Tom Joyner morning show and talk all that shit to try to get that black vote. But if you don't have any means to hold them accountable, if you don't have any money to contribute to their campaign, if you don't exercise recalls and referendums and special elections and ballot initiatives, if you do not exercise that, you don't have shit. You don't
Very,
have shit.
absolutely true. This is fundamental politics. The bottom line is, if we're not raising money for our own candidates, we don't have our own PACs. We're not putting up our own people and putting them out there to go hard in this system. They could be Republican or Democrat. Ethnic politics supersedes your party labels. There is no such thing as a real black Republican or black Democrat because you're black. You're a black man. At the end of the day, people are looking to sequester you from wealth and power. That's what they're trying to do, and that's what they were so upset about. You know, when they saw the visage of a Barack Obama coming in office, white men got very upset because they said this is a game changer. This could potentially be a game changer. If this one nigger gets in, another one can get in, and this next nigger who gets in, he might really want to work with these black folks. And next thing you know, you may have a real problem on your fucking hands. The name of the game is they want to consistently jimmy your political situation so you can't get economic power remuneration. Why is politics and economics so important? If you look at the federal government, you look at many of these dollars that come down from the federal government that come into the various communities that go to your schools and neighborhoods and so forth. It's the local politicians. It's your political people, your senators, your state senators and so forth who are involved in helping to distribute these dollars. Now, these white people tell you about the government all day long, but they get all of these monies to come and enhance their schools, enhance their businesses,
Oh,
and
thank you. Thank you.
and so forth. So therefore, they play a key role in the flow of the money. That comes directly through your political structure. There's your connection between the dollars, your tax dollars, the money that you put into into this company that they take out of your check on a weekly, monthly, however basis. All right, that goes directly into their community. It doesn't come into yours. Doesn't come into yours because you don't have politicians that are helping to redirect the flow of
Oh
funds.
yeah, hold on.
And many businesses, white boys, they want to sit down and talk about the government all day long. If you take a look at some of the biggest federally subsidized corporations
Oh,
that exists out here, and they're all the
cussing.
major players.
You
And they're sitting
cussing.
here getting
Yeah, hold on,
billions and billions and billions of
let me
dollars,
jump in here for 1 second.
and nobody's speaking about it. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, like let me jump in here 1 second, man. Yeah, because I want to kind of go back to the integration piece, and at this time when integration happened, did the affluent black folk just branch off and go their own way, or did they kind of join white folks with their jobs? Like, why did the community split after that? Or am I wrong?
Okay, wait. I'm gonna answer your question. I'm sorry for getting off on a tangent.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
the answer to your question is yes. What happened was that was a book. I think it was either Faces at the Bottom of the Well or another book. It says that black people that owned their businesses during integration, where they were maybe a CEO when integration came, they became assistant to such and such. They became the executive assistant or office assistant. Yes, it did in some instances create a hierarchical structure in terms of white America, and it was a drain pool for black America. But my thing was that my beef with that is that they were trying to connect that to the civil rights movement. And I tell people the civil rights movement was not about going and spending your money with white people. It was about the decentralization of power. But those affluent black people that wanted to know what it was like to be with white people, what it was like to be amongst white people, because anytime, again, like what I told you yesterday, the quickest way to get somebody to do something is to tell them not to do it. So when you forbid something, it becomes a fetish, it becomes a taboo. So that number of affluent blacks that wanted to see what it was like to be white went over to the other side, and they became assistant to their CEOs and their power forwards.
Well, let me break it down even a bit more, because he says Tony Maceo was definitely touching on some key pieces. The real piece was when you had a non-integrated community where black people were turning over their dollars 10, 20, 30, 100 times in their own community before it left out. As integration came in, you had a small store, you had a small business that made some okay money. What happened was during integration, the IBMs and let's say even the company that hired my father, Allstate and so forth, when they started to open up, okay, what they did was they opened up, said, go to school, get an education, and we're going to bring you in here. So a lot of people went and took the corporate, a lot of black people who started getting some educations and so forth, went and took the corporate job. Instead of building their own business, they went and took a corporate job, all right? They started to make $40,000, $50,000 a year back in the 60s and 70s, which are huge money, all right? As opposed to doing their 15 or 20 or 25,000 with their own home business, all right? They went to the corporations, and the corporations started paying them more money. So they got more money. Instead of trying to work their business, they went to IBM, they went to all these different companies, and they started to get paid more. So therefore, many of your black talented people started to go into the corporate game because the corporations were where the game at. Were we sophisticated? We weren't sophisticated in how we looked at this. We thought, okay,
Now with all black folk,
now we're getting this
all black folk ready for
and
integration.
didn't work for us, huh?
No, I said now was all black folk ready for integration, or just a small percent?
It was a small percentage, I think it was.
I think it was a small. I think it was a small percentage. But remember, black people we were supposedly cut out. We were cut out of the American mainstream. We were cut out of the American mainstream of basically business, education, and welfare. When I say welfare, not welfare system, but the welfare of the betterment of your community. We were cut out, and a lot of black people thought that this was going to be a new day for us. It was a new opening up in this country. We made some mistakes. I understand why many of us did that. Not that I agree with all of it, but I understand it was opening up. Now we were going to be accepted into society like everyone else. But at the end of the day, what we didn't really understand was much of this move was political in stopping you from actually gaining greater power when it comes into the American system. Because what they did with integration, as integration came in, concomitant with that was a war on drug situation, More drugs came into your community. You got more mass incarceration came about. We saw that literally with the Nixon administration that sat down and said, we targeted black people. We targeted them to arrest them for heroin and these other kind of drugs and trump them up and put them more in prison because it was a political issue. That came directly out of the Nixon White House. President Nixon and his crew, they did that. John Ehrlichman gave it up, told you why they did that.
Yeah, he did.
He gave it up, told you.
He told you. It was up front.
Told you why you would target it. And that then Law and Order came in, and then War on Drugs came. And all that was designed to remove you from the political arena, because the movements that we were making, integration with forced integration, and we did that was tumultuous. The movements were tumultuous. The country was getting ready to split, and one of the big issues and the problems that was being brought into this country was the extraordinary amount of foreign influence that was beginning to impinge on America. Okay, many other countries, many other people, African nations, all of them were starting to get freedom. All right, the European nations, they were sitting there saying, "Hey, hold on a second, there's integration. We could, you guys got to open up the system a lot more. We can work with this a lot more as well." Black people running all over the world, MLK and people like Malcolm, they were all over the world, bringing in. They were. Part of my expression, calls came through. They were all over the world trying to create. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. I'm busy. I got people trying to call me about me. But we had a lot of international influence. We've gotten away from that. That's why whites have come back so savagely with their with much of their alt-right and so forth, because we've missed the international piece. And Dr. Gerald Horne, who speaks about this greatly in his writings, really talks about the lack of our international influence, of which we've gotten away from, which I think has been very dangerous for us. But that's what started to come through. There was a big shaking, and there were tremendous issues going on, and this was tumultuous. So whites were starting to give up a little bit. They were starting to give you some, but the name of the game was to cut you back to the fat meat and cut you back politically. And that's why Adam Clayton Powell, what he said at the end of when he was leaving office, and spoke about how this welfare wasn't worked properly. And then we saw, mass incarceration, the drug problem, and all these things hit your community to get the black man out at home, put the black man in jail. All of these things started to happen. This was not by accident. This was engineered so you were not going to be a strong political, economic base here in this country, of which, quite frankly, has hurt this nation.
Well, then there was another piece there. There was another piece there. No, what hasn't been said, or what people won't talk about, is that the black businessmen.
It also made it hard for the military to do international operations if they had to stuff them on home.
Hold on. The black businessmen wanted integration.
What
they wanted.
Correct.
Correct. They wanted that white dollar to come in.
They wanted that white dollar. That's an excellent point that you made.
They lost their black constituency. They didn't get the white money they wanted. They didn't get the white money that they wanted, and they lost their black customers. They wanted integration. They wanted it.
Excellent point that he makes, because a lot of black people thought they can get in and integrate into the white business sector. And what white business people do is they deal with themselves. So they form corporations, they form their own cabals, and they cut you out. So the name of the game was, we were supposed to form our own cabals. We were supposed to form our own, black economic market in this country, work with that, and then grow out from there. We didn't do that. We gave that up to see, well, we're going to work with these white people. We were politically, socially, economically ignorant. That was a door we had to walk through. I believe now, after all this horror that has come down, we're starting to see it. And I think we can begin to turn this thing around by looking at it. We had to go through that. I'm not saying that we should have, but we did. And mistakes were made. And I think now there's a little clearer vision. And part of this is black men really getting together and looking at economics again, kicking this black hoe to the fucking side who ain't working with you, cut her fucking head off, and move forward, deal with yourself.
Hey, MOT, can you mute up, bro?
and deal with those who can deal with you economically. But we have to have a strong economic base that we build for ourselves. Now, when I talked to a brother MOT came up with a good point. He called me up a couple of months ago and he said, you know, Carl, let me say something to you, man. What we need to do, man, is I was talking to these Indians, and here they are talking about how come you guys do not have your own reservation land? Why don't you have that? Now, quite frankly, that was the 40 acres and a mule that we didn't get. But the Indians were sitting there saying, well, how come y'all don't have that? Y'all need to do that. And when T came and told me, yo, man, $65 an acre, this is where we need to be. See, this is where we have to start to go. I know a lot of us don't want to deal with this, but this is where we're going to have to go if we're going to be successful out here today. These are the moves we're going to have to make. We're going to have to design and build our own communities. We can easily do it. We've done it before. We could be very successful at it. And then, of course, we can get empowered with of course, getting our own police forces and so forth, our own coercive forces to help us maintain our own survival. That's the key here. That's the next move. And let's see if we can pull that off. But that's our only saving grace. All right, all right, and running our own. I'm sorry, I must say this. I know those are going to hate me. Running our own level of almost a Sharia law, and I'm not talking about it from the standpoint of an Islamic perspective, but we're going to have to run that as well. We're going to have to run a fucking dom game, and run this shit at a level that will shock the fucking world and turn this fucking thing around. That's what we're going to have to do. That's where we're at in this. That's our saving grace. Go ahead.
We got MOT in the house. MOT. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can now.
Go ahead, brother. We didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, that's fine. It's just that with Martin Luther King on the scene, it made it very hard for the United States to do anything internationally with those problems going on at home about how we were spreading freedom. And he kind of ripped the whole tarp off the whole thing for the whole world to see, because there was a lot of international influence in the United States at that time.
Yeah.
When it came to Martin Luther King and investments and all that type of stuff that was
correct.
going on, not really locally. So it made it very hard for the military to conduct any of their CIA operations or anything that was happening in the United States because he was on the scene.
Yeah. He made, it was tough. We were bringing a lot of international, eyes on this, and we turned away from that. Said, okay, white man, we're gonna deal with you, here. We're gonna deal with you here locally, and we're gonna get the right thing going. And that was a mistake.
Also, you had some other things that were happening globally concurrently. So while you had that happening, see, it's like a Greek hydra. On one instance, you had the domestic suppression, but you also had these coups being sponsored against these governments that would have been friendly to Black America. Kwame Nkrumah, for instance, his Ghanaian economy, they sunk the cocoa trade, and that was their chief export. When they sabotaged the cocoa, they destroyed the country, they shattered the country economically. You see,
you're hitting this all dead on the head, Tony. You're dead on it. And what this is doing is hurting it. This is hurting Americans.
When they shattered and overthrew those progressive governments, who did they put in? These conservative dictators, these tyrants of these banana
lackeys, bro. Lackeys.
They put in. They overthrew. What was the guy down there in Chile? They overthrew Salvador Allende.
Allende and all them.
Put in Augusto Pinochet and all these people that were flunkies.
And it's hurt us. It's hurt us. It's you have to understand, this white man. He's no genius. All right, people are superior. He's no genius. This motherfucker. He ain't that fucking bright. He's fucking himself in a lot of ways. Now, we have opportunities that many of us don't seem to want to understand. I know the niggerish mindset that we have, and these fucking animals running around thinking like a bunch of fucking shines. But see, it's time for us to get out of that mindset and start to think more about a global way and really start to really build a Black kind of economic front. And I'm not talking no revolutionary Black power, shit. I'm talking practical, everyday work, control the economy in your community, and start to turn your money over every day amongst yourselves. You'll employ yourself more. You'll enrich yourself more. And it's a very fundamental, basic thing. The Chinese, Jews, Italians, they all do it. We're not doing it because we've been bought and sold into a very false narrative, and that's something we have to get out of. Many of these Africans who are coming over here, these Nigerians and others, they're doing that. They're coming here with the classic immigrant mentality, doing well in school, going to these universities, knocking it out the box, and building businesses in IT and tech and so forth, and dealing. And they're growing aggressively. We have to employ this. We have to employ this method.
Hey, brothers, let's give C Boogie back his hangout. We done completely commandeered.
Yeah. I was about to bring it back to no. This is actually good shit. And I appreciate all the knowledge up here. But I want to bring it back because I started off the conversation asking Tony, was it the crack era specifically that put the nail in the coffin for a lot of things in the Black community, or is that not true? Because I've heard that a lot from a lot of guys that's older than me, but I only know a Black community after the crack era, because I was born in '87.
There were many nails in the coffin. It wasn't just the crack era.
It started with heroin.
It started with heroin. That's what I'm saying. It was the evolution of devolution. So when the crack era came along, it put that deeper spike in the coffin. It was one of many spikes, because you got to think, after the crack era after you make a neighborhood unlivable, you destroy it economically. So now you got the vultures. Now you got the inability for you to have money turning over in your community, because nobody wants to live in a war zone. Nobody wants to do business in a war zone. So in answer to your question, I'm not going to give you such a long-winded answer. The crack epidemic did destroy the Black community, but the crack epidemic ushered in 1,000 other monsters that continue to sweep up the Black community to this day. So in answer to your question, yes. But again, it's an evolutionary process. It's the evolution of devolution.
Hey Tony, can I add on to that? I remember as a kid running around Harlem in the 60s. All right, 67, 68, little kid running around, going to Colonial Pool up there on 145th Street and hanging out. We had a community. After we started to come out of this Vietnam War moving out from 68, 69, 70, I literally saw it myself. My father's office was on 145th Street. I saw this as a kid. I began to see a lot of heroin start to come directly into the Black community. And I started seeing a lot of men and people nodding out on the corners. You started seeing the nodding game and people just nodding out like you see with these white people today. I started seeing that where you literally had the zombification of the Black community started to come in, and this thing happened fast. It happened fast. And the drugs started coming in very heavily. CIA played a role, the Italian mafia, these other brothers. A lot of cats started fucking around with this shit. Money was flowing, but it was destroying the community. That was the first angle. That was the real first big attack. And it was no different than the type of attack we saw in the Boxer Rebellion and so forth with China when England had become a de facto narco state that began to push heroin and poppy into China to weaken them so they could take over their markets. Okay, same type of deal. We saw that at the end of the 19th century, with the Boxer Rebellion and all that, and the Opium Wars. That we saw the same type of a rollout, if you will, happen in the Black community, and we saw a great degree. This is after MLK and all them went down, and all that, and just the tremendous tumultuous movements of the civil rights era that was shaking these motherfuckers to the core. You had a free flow of drugs, and it started with the heroin. Okay, then the heroin died out throughout the 70s. Then the crack epidemic started to hit around 1984, 85. I was looking right at it when that happened. All right, I was a young guy, about 24, 25 years old, looking at this shit. All right, so exactly how this thing was hitting in my community, and then the next thing you know, that ran and burnt a tremendous flame and did immense damage well into the 90s. And our community has kind of come out of it, where we are the Black community. This is a fact that most of us don't know. You are the least drug addicted community in this country. Nobody tells you that.
So the answer to your question,
nobody gets you into that. But it burned a hole through us. And yes, did it do damage? Crack came in right after heroin, and boy, it did a job.
The answer to your question, C Boogie, is yes.
Yeah. It did. But it didn't start with crack. It started before.
Yeah, man. I got you, man. And kind of want to transition really quick into the black conservatives. Because you have black conservatives out here that want to bring back, the black family, almost like a black nationalist kind of movement. Then you got the other kind of black conservatives that was up in the White House maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah. Those are the whites. They become white. They become white supremacists. The nerve.
Yeah. They was looking crazy up in there playing Kendrick Lamar in the press room.
Yeah. The nerve of these things. The nerve of these things.
Yeah. Motherfucking nerve of these niggas. I was highly disappointed in my boy Marcus A. Brown. But anyway, so the point is, yeah, MOT, you got some music or something coming from the background, bro.
Oh, cool. All right, hold on.
Yeah, but I want to get you guys' thoughts on the black conservatives, man. The different factions of it. What is the kind of conservatism they trying to give us, that they're trying to sell us through the media, and what would be best for black folk to adopt?
Some of C Boogie, we've already had it. The black community is naturally a conservative community. It always has been. Okay, the downfall of your black church and this jack-legged black pastor and the fuckery that he's been running up in there for the last 40 years wholesale has helped to break down much of your black conservative environment, because black people tend to be very conservative. We're very conservative about crime, conservative about dress, a lot of these things, and we've seen a lot of these things break down. I think it's just going back to our basic overall fundamentals of what we used to have. My mother, who went to school, all right, with Allen University, then which is a Southern school, and then part of the HSBCUs, and then came up north, and and went to NYU and all that. But you know what they were teaching in those schools? They were teaching those schools etiquette classes, where you had to walk with a book on your head. You had to sit down and have your legs crossed and wear a dress and properly walk. You had to walk properly. If you walked with a book on your head that fell off, you got basically chastised. You had all of these things that were being taught in your school education. We had these things that were there. We were very conservative in how we dress and how we handle our business. But all that has fallen to the side. We've gotten away from our fundamentals. We've gotten into this jack-boning, jackal type existence where all of a sudden, these fucking whores and these scumbags are running around, and this is what's all good. We just need to get back to basics. It's not a question about us having to adopt a new ethic. We had the ethic. It was there. I mean, that was my mother's ethic. They grew up like this. My aunt and all, they grew up like this. You went to a black school with black women in there. You had these etiquette classes. You had to walk with books on your head. You had to know how to get up and be able to cross your legs like a lady. You had to know how to get out of a car door and open and have a man, pull you get you out of the car without you having your crotch being shown and all this kind of stuff. I mean, they were very fastidious about this. We had this going on. And a lot of this was taught in the church. None of this stuff is going on. So our institutions that we have today have degraded to a pitiful level. The Eddie Longs and all these kind of savages running around in the church. Nervous niggas, they should be shot. But this is what you have. You just got to get back to basics. Get back to basics and fundamentals. It's a natural part of our community. We are naturally conservative. We are naturally conservative. The conservatism that the ABLs and these guys are running is a savage form of conservatism that is taken from the white man to make them a white supremacist, to hate you. Black conservatism should be designed to enhance and strengthen the black community, not to become a hateful aspect of your community to help to destroy it. This is what these guys are talking about, and this is the problem I have with them. And quite frankly, if shit ever jumped off and there was a real issue going on, I would have to take them niggas out first before I'd have to go after you real it. You gotta take those guys out who are trying to take you out first. And that's the issue you have with a lot of these black conservatives, where they call it black conservatism, but really it's really more of a white supremacist type of game, if you will. Black conservative principles are designed to enhance and strengthen your community, your business, your family. That's what that's designed to do.
MOT.
And yeah, accept nothing outside of that.
Come on in here, Doc. Come on in here.
I'm still here, man.
Now come on in here. We want to hear you. Come on in here. What's your perspective?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I said, come on in here. We want to hear your perspective.
I mean, the rise of this so-called black conservatism that's practiced by those people, it just shows the weak amount of power that we have overall as black people. Because you don't have out and out pro-US people in like Pakistan or Iran. Because those people, if they were pro not their own people, they wouldn't be able to walk the streets. They wouldn't be able to come out of their house without ducking sniper fire. That's just the way it is. And it's just that there's a lot of economic interest in playing this, I call it the conservative typecast character. You know, this simulacrum of some conservatism of what it looks like if white supremacists actually had their way and they actually had their public. There's a lot of money to be made in that. I mean, it's a career field. It's very predatory. I mean, because the people who they're trying to quote unquote put on this show for, they don't trust them dudes like that. They know they don't trust them dudes like that, and they really think that they're playing this huge game, but they only have their places because we're depowered in this country and we're decentralized in this country. Like if we were to ever get our foot in our holding back, these people got hell to pay for doing that for all those years. But this is the type of conservatism that took over. Like government jobs and everything else. It's like they replaced black conservative, from before kind of what is that called? Segregation, and kind of supplanted it with this type of conservatism.
Agreed.
Which is a white supremacist conservatism.
One thing I saw was this modern conservative that was created. I'm talking about the people like the Alan Gays, the Roy Ennens. What happened was they drunk the Kool-Aid. Herman Cain. They drunk the Kool-Aid of the Democratic Party. See, they thought the Democratic Party was truly about that life of equality and social mobility. And what happened was they ran into fake liberalism. They ran into the Democratic Party's hypocrisy, and it revolted them. So what they were trying to do, they were trying to say, well, okay, well, since the Democratic Party didn't treat us, because you guys got to remember now, back in the day, the Republicans were the liberals. The Republicans were the old school liberals, so to speak, if you believe in such thing as liberalism. The Republicans were the old school liberals. They were the party, of course, that had to do with abolition of slavery. They were, shockingly enough, it was a Republican president, Richard Nixon, who ushered in affirmative action. But a lot of times we can't tell theater from substance. We can't tell that a lot of times when you're being power tricked, they're not giving it to you because they love you. They're giving it to you because they want to manipulate you. But we fell in love, to our great dismay, we fell in love with John F. Kennedy, and John F. Kennedy was a politician. People in power have two faces. So when we saw the ugly racism of the Democratic Party, we revolted. We were repulsed at that, and then these Negroes ran headlong into the Republican Party, which had long since been usurped by its reactionary plutocratic wings and had become very, very imperial in their objectives and perspectives toward American society. So they thought that they were going to get some relief running to them. And so what they merely did, they gave them a piece of propaganda, told them to run with it, gave them wedge issues. When, like, as Nagone said, we are naturally conservative people. You didn't have to teach us that. As a matter of fact, I tell people all the time, the first hand of government intervention in the lives of Black people was chattel slavery. That was government intervention. That was by an act of government. So if you're talking about conservatism, we already had conservatism. We were through with it before they knew what to do with it. But now they're framing it as conservatism because they're disguising what it really is. And that's the redistribution of wealth at the top of society amongst a bunch of people that are already independently wealthy. It's theft. What they're calling conservatism is actually theft. And they talk that shit about, they talk that shit about no handouts. I don't like welfare, and I don't like welfare either way. I don't like it as a $532 check.
Recipients.
Exactly. I don't like it if it's
they're the biggest welfare recipients.
I don't like it if it's a $532 check to a woman with 5 kids, and I don't like it if it's a $532 billion check to Bechtel. Either
That's what
way,
we
that
there.
shit
There
is
you
wrong.
go.
You
There you
see,
go.
because
There you
it's
go.
been
There
shown
it
that
is.
those subsidies do not create jobs, that
There
lie
it is.
about trickle-down economics. It does not create jobs. It does not create community. What it does is centralize. Well, and the businesses that get these subsidies are oftentimes not even successes.
Yo, so when
So
Tony, real quick. So when people put a lot of emphasis on the actual welfare that's being distributed to single moms, and they never talk about the corporate welfare. Why do you think that is?
Because they're
oh,
being
let me hit that one. Let me hit that one too.
because they're being hypocritical because they're picking on the lowest hanging fruit. See that you can't say nothing against Donald Trump, who has had more than his fair share of corporate welfare. You can't say anything to Charles and William Koch, who have had more than their fair share. You can't say anything to Dick Armey. See, they're afraid to go and call Dick Armey on the carpet, but it's easy to call this hood bitch Boom Quisha on the carpet, because who's really going to protect her? Nobody. So what it is you're picking on the weaker person. You're picking on the person that is the most vulnerable. Now, to be sure, Boom Quisha and her ilk do damage to the black community. They do create a kind of desolation and a type of scarcity and a type of no limits, no holds barred anarchy in the black community. They got their fuckery. But then by the same token, you want to pick on her, but you don't want to say anything about him. And the real reason is you're afraid to say anything about him. You're afraid to say anything about him because you worship him. You look at him and you think that because he's rich, he's intelligent. But as
Yeah, we got
Nagon
a
said,
saying, Tony,
they're,
real
they're not,
quick.
they're
Yeah,
not
Okay.
me and
any more
Nagone got
smarter
a
than you
saying.
are.
Okay.
Yeah, real quick. I'm gonna let you finish. Me and Nagone got a saying. They love this white man.
Yeah, they
Love this
do.
white man.
They
Listen,
do. They do.
and see, they've taken the eye. Tony, you my nigga. See, the real deal is here. They've taken that. They've taken the eyes. They want you to take the eyes off the prize. If you take a look at all of these tax cuts, you take a look at all this corporate welfare going and all this. This money is trickling up. It ain't trickling down. It's
It never
going up.
trickles down.
Okay, and the wealthy are getting wealthier, and the poor are getting poorer. I mean, that's what it is. Your middle class has basically been evaporated here in this country. It's almost been evaporated. How is that? Where's the money going? Where is it going? But yet they've got you told, listen, you've got a shot at being a billionaire and all this and all that. They give you all this bullshit. But at the end of the day, they are drying up the fucking well. And a lot of people, are just not making a lot of money. People are working hard, but they're not making a lot of money. Where is all the money going? And you see where it's going. Where's all the corporate welfare going? The corporate welfare, Arthur Daniels Midland Corporation, ADM, which is a Coke-based company, ADM, they are getting billions on billions of government subsidies. Government subsidies. They make this bumquisha literally look like an ant as far as the kind of money that these guys are getting. But Bumquisha is, of course, she is who is the problem. Now, is she a problem? Just like Tony said, yeah, she a problem. But at the end of the day, is she the ultimate problem? No. ADM, Arthur Daniels Midland. Okay, you want to take a look at Raytheon, who's a client of mine. Well, I used to, put, programmers into that company for a while. If you were to take a look at the government subsidies going into Raytheon and their missiles and weapons systems and so forth that they're designing for the military, it's staggering dollars, staggering. And these men are wealthy running around who are running it, and they're running around off of your dollars. We need to create this, but nobody talks about that. And there's so many more. I don't want to even get into we're just scratching just the tip of the iceberg. But it's
they're
massive.
the same ones in your face telling you about limited government intervention.
And they're telling you limited government, and they're sucking and living off it. And most of these wealthy Republicans and so forth who are sitting there, who are making immense amounts of dollars, are government subsidized business executives. That's what's up. Now, my view is, okay, fair enough. I want a piece of the fucking action as well. I want a piece of the action. We want to get involved. They don't want you there. All right, they really don't. And see, Boogie came up with a wonderful story about some brothers who would fighting to get some of this government dough and they had a legitimate company. They had to sit down and redo their papers, and he saw them vibing and doing their whole game. That's what that was all about. Somebody like a MOT can give you a good insight into that as well.
Oh, MOT's the man.
Yeah. He can give you a very good insight into that as well. But that's your biggest welfare recipient. Nobody wants to call them out. Okay, you alt-right guys are sitting here talking about this, that, and the third, and they don't want to tell you about how they're being sold out by the government as well, and all these other people. This is what's going on. But a lot of us are not supposed to see that. They're supposed to put a lot of labels on a lot of shit, get you run up behind a lot of labelism, and get caught up and get confused behind it. At the end of the day, ethnic politics supersedes ethnic economics supersedes any party label. You got to play what your interests are first. Forget what label you want to let you label yourself as. That's the trick bag.
Well, that's why
they get too many in there. Go ahead, brother.
I tell this Negro constantly stay focused.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that to be, to try to sound cool or try to make a bumper sticker. I'm like, dog, on the battlefield, man, if you're not fucking focused, if you worried about Pookie and Ray Ray on the battlefield, nigga, you are finished. And that's where I'm at. Oh, I'm sorry. Something pop up. And like, that's where I'm at, dog. Because I know this Negro is easily distracted. You put a big pair of titties in front of this nigga, he's done. I've seen it. He's done.
Because he's been trained not to think beyond that.
And look, man, I'm very disappointed in a lot of Negroes, Negro men, because our focus is not where it's supposed to be, and I've been watching this shit for a while, and I constantly been beating the same thing. I'm like, dude, Pookie and Ray Ray, they are the pawns. They are here one day and they are gone tomorrow, either jail, prison, whatever the case may be, and they'll plug another one in there. They do what they supposed to do. Those guys are fucking kamikazes. You gotta keep your mind focused. But this Negro, we know why he loved Pookie and Ray Ray. He loved talking about them because it's about the pussy. Bottom line. And look, I'm not gonna run from this topic anymore. I thought we was a little bit more mature than what we was, but if you break it down to the lowest level, like Tony so eloquently told me the other day, brother, it's always two things behind this shit: money or pussy. Money or pussy.
And what's really going on big time here is it's about the money. See, that's just another commodity that can be bought and sold like fucking pork bellies or fucking orange juice. All right. But the real deal is who's got the money. And that's the name of the game. They don't want you to have the dough. Because if you have the money, that means you can make a lot more money. What does that mean? His kid now doesn't drive around a Ferrari, yours does. All right. And that's really where we're at. It's a zero-sum game. Lester Thoreau wrote a very good book wrote a very key book on this. This is what we have to do. We have to really learn how to begin to turn the corner on this. We have to get more sophisticated. Where I think the Black Manosphere and other organs like this that speak about this is really just to start putting guys on game. Get people's mindset to start thinking a little bit differently. All right, start looking at your electoral process a bit differently and see what it really means. It's not to get out of the game; it's really to get more involved and put some skin in the game and make people accountable to what you really want to do, and you'll start seeing some changes. And I like some of the stuff I'm hearing from people now a bit more, but we need to expand upon that more.
Nerve of these niggas.
The nerve of these niggas.
The nerve of these niggas.
The nerve of these niggas.
2019. I'm banging hard. The nerve of these niggas series, and like I know guys probably think I drove off a cliff with this shit because I've been banging hard. But seriously, I had to shift my focus for a minute because I know this Negro needs Nagone. Before you got on, I was talking about an email that I got from a young brother. He said he was recommended my page by another young brother. He was telling me how he was fucked up in the game. He was living in his car, and he just wanted to hear me talk. And I sent him an email back. He's seen some of my videos about the matriarchy. He liked my story. To make it short, I I had to shift my focus after I got that email. I said, you know what, man? You know, I'm not gonna get in the mud with these Negroes because first of all, they can't fuck with me, and then second of all, you know, I can use my platform to really help this Negro male. You know what I'm saying? Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of fucked up motherfuckers out there, and all they want to do is hear somebody talk. You know, hear somebody speak life into them. You know what I mean? And I had to shift my focus, man. I had to snap out of the bullshit because I was on some bullshit, man. I was about to do a lot of nut rubbing, a lot of ball rubbing on niggas, but I had to stop that shit because, you know, I just ain't got time for it right now. When a young cat tell me he living in his car and he about to do something stupid, and if I can talk the little nigga out of doing that shit, man, I'm like, you know what? All of this was worth it. I'm always humble. I'm always humble, dog. I'm humbled that I can get three butterlay guys on my fucking panel and speak knowledge. You know, I'm always humble, man. But the fuckery, you know, the lack of focus, the lack of vision, you know, the lack of being precise, the lack of discipline at times, it bothers me, man. We can't. I talk about focus so much, and I'm like, dog, that's everything, man. You know, you don't want to be in a war zone for 11 months. You're supposed to leave your 12th month and you do something stupid because you got complacent. You don't fucked around and stepped on the landmine like an idiot. Everything you did for 11 months was successful. But that 12th month, going into that 12th month, you got complacent and you lost sight. You lost your vision, man. And I seen it too much, man, with this Negro.
POV, persistence of vision. We have to have that, all day. That's a very important thing. You really talk about that because we are in the battlefield and their minds laying all around. Your women, many of these black women are fucking, for all practical purposes, living minds. And if you make poor choices there and run up on that, we talk about the relationship issue, which is very important. If you're going to rebuild, if you're going to build a community, if you're going to build a good household, let alone, and you decide you're going to domicile with a woman, you have to make good choices. You got to have good vision. You got to be able to sum shit up properly. If you're not, you're done. Just like landmines going off all over the fucking place. People getting their feet blown off, all day long. This goes on, and people who may have the right ideas or it may even be thinking properly, but the next thing you know, they're lacking their vision. MOT, you and I were talking about this a little bit, but would you expand on that a little bit as well, my brother? I mean, because we were kind of talking about this, and MOT, MOT, he rolled kind of hard. He rolled kind of hardcore up in here. Go ahead, man.
You have to understand that these people, even if you were to hand them on a platter, what they wanted, they would still turn around and walk away from it. You have to understand that if you have focused on the wrong thing for so long, it really destroys you. It's kind of like if you leave somebody at war on an island and that person does not know for 20, 30 years that war is not over. If you were to walk up to that person and just tell them, hey, man, the battle is completed. We won. Hey, man, you ready to leave the island? No, I'm not ready to leave the island because I'm still mad about that shit that happened last week or last month or the past 30 years. Most of these people are intellectually stuck in a specific frame of mind based on something that happened in the past. And it takes up all of their focus to really sit there and act like they are a normal human being when they're not a normal human being. These people don't recognize that they got people who come over here who don't speak English, who are coming and moving into their communities and doing all the stuff that they should be doing, but they turn around and say, well, I would have a better chance if XYZ insert nationality wasn't here. That's not true. You're not taking advantage of the stuff that's already here. That's why they can get past you, because your focus is off. Your focus is on the wrong stuff. And here's the deal, man. All these people who think that they're about to escape this country, go over to a place where you have far less rights than you do in like Iowa or Nebraska. Let me tell you something, man. That shit gonna be hard than a motherfucker. Hard as fuck. And people think that if you just put yourself in a different environment, but your mind hasn't changed, that you're gonna all of a sudden get these great results. I'm like, dude, listen, man. Access to a woman is worth nothing in other cultures.
This Negro.
Fact.
Hold on, because the nerve of this nigga, right?
The nervous nigga.
Dollar Will. Hold on, fellas. I got my Dollar Will up in here, man.
Yeah, bring Dollar Will up in here. Bring his butter. He highly butter laid. Bring his ass.
What's happening, fellas?
What's up, Dollar Will? What's up, baby?
I have big respect to everybody on the panel. I mean, everybody on here, I have some interaction with regularly, except for the one brother that I came on this panel to air dap. I don't know this brother, but I'm in the process of listening to everything on your channel, Mr. Maceo.
Yep. You should.
we got to give this brother his own something, his own special, man, the way you put it down on lots of topics. But I just want to know, when are you going to write the book on power tricking? Because before you answer, but I was in the chat yesterday, basically big up at what y'all would talk about, and a brother in the chat say, Dollar, he like, Dollar, are you talking about buying it? I said, it's not really about the money. The short answer is yes, but that ain't really the point. The point is about bringing integrity to the game, integrity in the relationship. You got a woman who go ahead.
No. I was saying, his new name is 75.
75. I got 75. At 75. Yeah, it's about bringing integrity to it. It's like not tricking yourself into thinking that this woman is really into you and she ain't. It's about not paying more than something is worth. It's about freeing your time up so that you can go on and get that release you need and get back to real business in life, things that you really need to be focused on. Now, and it's about knowing the difference between women. Okay, some women are made for tricking. Okay, all women are not tricks. All are not made for tricking. All women are not bitches. All women are not hoes. We done lost our way as men, knowing the difference between, when a good woman show up. We treat the worst women like they good women, and
some of us, not all.
Some of us, yeah. You're right. And so just that clarity on. I mean, we done gotten to the point where feminism has made women think, like, what's the dumbest thing I hear from women? Oh, so you mean so I'm supposed to sleep with or have sex with every man to take me out? Yeah. Yeah, that's the answer to that question. I'm like, you knew what he wanted. Why did you go out? We've accepted in this culture that it's okay for women to want something for nothing. No, it ain't. It like Kendrick Lamar say, this dick ain't free. We got to get to that point. Hey, I got value too. Now, if you don't want what I got to offer, I'm not trying. I had a woman try to convince me that I needed to convince her. I'm like, I'm not gonna convince you. I said, I respect your choice more than you respect your choice.
The nerve of that. Yo, Tony Maceo. Yo, we need you up in here to talk about this power tricking, bruh.
Oh man, y'all crazy.
75.
Look, y'all crazy. It comes from it. I embrace an ultimate perspective of reality. See, I don't take anything for given. I don't take anything for granted. I don't take anything as being self-accepted. I embrace things as they are, and I follow the idea that there's no such thing as the Virgin Mary. There's no such thing as the Virgin Mary. And it would be stupid for me to go shopping for pussy at Goodwill and complain about the price tag. You see what I'm saying? A lot of dudes want to say, well, I wonder if she's not a whore. Well, how do you know for sure? How do you know if she's not a whore? Does she come with a cat facts? Is there a credit history on her pussy? I mean, how do you really know where this woman been? How do you know this woman ain't been in a gangbang last night? How do you know? You don't know. So if you don't know, everybody out here, what we're doing in a very real sense is we're recycling pussy. That's what we're doing. We're recycling pussy. Now, when we say this, we're talking about entertainment purposes only. I gotta say that. Because some niggas will get it twisted. We're not talking about finding a wife this way. That's not what we're talking about. This is for entertainment
Correct.
purposes, short-term sex, casual sex only. And again, when it comes to sexual desires, women have a hierarchy. Whether it's right or wrong, it could be wrong. It is wrong. I'll give you that. It is wrong. But what are you gonna do? You gonna put a chastity belt around her pussy and tell her not to fuck this nigga? I mean, what are you gonna do? You gonna handcuff her to a train track and run over and dismember? I mean, what you gonna do? You cannot control what a woman finds sexually desirable, because her sexual desires are subjective, and you're never gonna compete with that nigga that she finds sexually attractive. So what I said, okay, I'll reach a compromise with you. I'll make you a deal. I got 75. I'll make you a deal. And see, when I say I got 75, they say, well, how could you do that? And I said, because I'm playing off of him. He gonna fuck her life up. He gonna fuck her credit up. He gonna fuck her bank account up. He gonna fuck her whip up. He gonna have her bills in arrearages. He gonna fuck her up completely. So at the end of the day, that bitch is happy to get a pack of ramen noodles, a blunt, and about $30 or $40. You add that shit up, that's 75. You see, the hood rat survival pack. So what I'm doing is I'm playing that nigga's own lifestyle. I'm playing his own philosophy. I'm playing his own nature against himself, because he's not gonna keep her. You said it early. These pookie niggas are short-winded. They're not long-term. They're gonna get capped, locked up, or otherwise swept off the motherfucking scene. That's the way it always works. I'm the only constant. I'm the only one. So the question to me is not can I save you? The question becomes, will I save you? And when that happens, that the power switches to me. I decide what you will do and what you won't do. Why? Because I'm paying. I got 75. If you don't want that 75, go on back over there. But see, when they come to me, it's like, okay, I'm fucked up and I'm going to listen. I'm going to do what you say. And if I don't do what you say, I'm going to implode. I'm going to self-destruct if I don't do what you say. Why? Because that nigga that she's in love, the nigga that she's just swooning over, the niggas that made her penny wet and totally fucked her life up. So by dealing with me consistently, I'm the only consistent thing in her life. This other nigga, he going and coming, but I'm the only consistent thing in her life. So I reached a perspective to where I say, I don't need for you to love me. I don't need for you to love me. I don't need for you to want me. I want some pussy, but you will respect me. That's the difference. You come in here, you will respect me. If you cannot respect me, you will not be in my presence. You will not benefit from my hand. You will not taste a morsel of my beneficence. If you cannot render me respect, bitch, even if you got to fake it, when you step through my doors, these are my rules, and this is what I'm allowing, and this is what I'm putting down. So if you cannot do that, the next time when you call me, I may not pick up the phone. The next time when you call me, I may not want to talk to you. The next time you call me, I may be doing other shit. So the question becomes, now you begin to see which one of us, in a manner of speaking, is your real man. Is it this nigga that's constantly playing you and fucking over you? Or is it the nigga you come into on a constant basis? And what happens is when we deal with females like that, that tends to keep them in our circle for a long period of time, because we don't call them. We don't call them. We don't run after them. We don't chase them. We don't do none of that. We understand who and what we're dealing with. We understand where they come from. We understand, their ecosystem. We understand what drives them. We understand when they're lying. We understand when they're telling the truth. We have such an intimate relationship with them over a long period of time. It's certain things that you begin to know about them. Now, onto a certain faceless YouTuber that everybody's crowing about. They're crowing about, and I understand why they're doing it, because she talked all that shit about, Dusty Mail this and Dusty Mail that, and you got pregnant by a dusty nigga. But I'm like, what's the surprise? This is a hood bitch. This is a hood bitch. Hood bitches like hood niggas. What are you shocked
Same
about?
thing I said, Tony. Same thing I said.
Hood bitches, hood niggas. What are you shocked about? This is what this is. Well, she said this. You never pay attention to what a hood bitch say. A hood bitch always has delusions of grandeur. She always gonna make herself seem more grand than what she is. She always gonna talk that shit. You couldn't tell she was a hood rat. The weave, the nasty, greasy ass attitude, the slick mouth, and pushing her titties in the camera. That's hood rat all day.
Tony, I called her a hoe. I said, you a hoe.
That's what she is. She's a hood bitch. She's a hood bitch. And hood bitches love hood niggas. Why are you surprised about that?
There is no surprise. There is no surprise.
Oh, she got pregnant by such. Who gives a fuck? That's what they do. Hood bitches get pregnant by hood niggas. Hood bitches let hood niggas skate up in them. If she come across
me ask you a question, though.
If she comes across me, I got 75. It's the same.
Let me ask you a question, Tony. Why do you think it's this? You know, besides her rhetoric, dog. Like, why do you think it's this big uproar to run these marathons talking about you know what I'm talking about?
Because you get your aha moment. Because I mean, let's be honest, she done talked a little slick and a little crazy. You know, everything out her mouth was dusty beta male coons, and black men were a superior form of life. They were subordinate. They wasn't as good as. They wasn't about shit. So now, you know, bitch, you got caught up and niggas are laughing. You got caught up.
Hey, hold a second.
No. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
And niggas are clowning you. You got caught up. You wasn't all. It's like you remember the. There was a video. None But a G thing. Y'all remember None But a G thing? With
Yeah.
In the video, the bitch was, you know, she was acting all stuck up and rubbing her finger off, dust, and acting like she didn't want to be around nobody. And then them niggas came and then, you know, shook up them 40s and
put the
spread
40 ounces on.
You see what I'm saying? That's what this is. This is a collective spread. They're pouring 40 ounces on this bitch because you talked all that shit, but now look at where you at. Look at where you are now. And I'm saying, okay, that aha moment is cool for a minute, but she's a hood bitch. She doing what hood bitches do.
And see, this is the thing. These hood bitches and all the rest of these hoes, they complain about the niggas they chasing.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. I was like, you's a hoe. You got mad. Wait. You said dick. I said dick. You a hoe. And see, these bitches get mad at that. But you see, there is no surprise to what she does. This was to be expected.
Yes.
She came in there right on time. And these other hoes have done it. We've seen it. They've done the same thing.
Yo, Negro,
wait a minute now. Y'all gonna have to stop disrespecting hoes now. I have to come
They complain about the hoes.
Don't confuse the bitches with the hoes now.
They complain about the niggas they chasing. They complain about the niggas they chasing.
Let me drop this. See, anytime you got a woman that's always, you know, these lofty standards and they're real slick mouth, their attitude is real nasty. What you do is you assure yourself that you will attract nothing but the niggas that you hate. So if you always talking slick to niggas and you always trying to puff up and swell up in a nigga's face and think you got balls as big as him, guess who you gonna attract? You're gonna attract Tank that just came out of prison yesterday. Who gonna slap the teeth out your motherfucking mouth? That's who you're gonna attract. You're gonna attract Ray Ray, who gonna go up in your mouth without hesitation, because that's the only one who can quote unquote handle a strong woman. That's what you attracted. You're attracting. You're the perpetrator of your own misery. You are the architect of your own destruction. You have assured that the only nigga you're gonna attract is a nigga that you claim you don't want. So when I start hearing these bitches talk about, oh, they want this type of dude, you look at, it's just like when we did the podcast with Professor Griffin and Zaza Ali. I said, I can look at Zaza Ali, only a gangster nigga gonna be able to handle her. Ain't no nigga that's about anything gonna be able to deal with her. She need a nigga with a strong goon hand, a nigga that's gonna pull it on back, because those women.
And you can see it in her eyes. Look at her eyes. I feel eyes get beady and shit. This is a hoe on the make. Look at her eyes. I'm like, oh, this is a straight up.
Tony, I got a question though, Tony.
This is a straight up hoe up in here. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tony, but see, I already knew this bitch was a hoe, right? And real talk. And when I found out the news, I was pretty indifferent about it. Like I was like, you know, to be honest, yeah, I really wasn't surprised. I'm like, all right, this bitch, you know, mid-30s, she a hoe. That's when a lot of them want to have that kid before it's all over, man. You know, that's
biological clock ticking.
Yeah. That's in female nature as well. But Negroes are acting like this is some kind of victory for black men. Like we won a Super Bowl, and I'm like, all right, man, I give y'all niggas 24 hours to, you know, drop the confetti. But now I'm like, dog, like this, you know, this shit ain't gonna change nobody's situation, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen, I'm gonna say this. Niggas are gonna gloat for a minute. They gonna do it. She asked for this shit. It happened. Niggas are gonna have a Super Bowl party. That's how they gonna roll on this for a minute. This is, even though this is not good, because you know we know the kids gonna have problems and this shine she's running around with all these babies and shit looking crazy. Okay, that shit is ridiculous. So that is not a good fucking situation. But at the end of the day, Negroes are just gonna have their moment because this bitch talk mad slick in the mouth. And that's going to make not only her but many other bitches going to have to fall back. So the narrative got shut down.
That's all it is.
So the narrative got shut down, and that's what niggas. So I expect niggas to go off for a minute. Let them have their moment, and then we got to move forward. All right, but go ahead.
Yeah. I agree.
Go ahead.
I agree, but what I'm saying is this: you're not going to change that hoe. What she like the fuck.
It ain't going to change that.
One thing that you do, if you keep on shaming a female for fucking a certain kind of nigga, you doing nothing but driving that bitch into his hands.
Yeah,
why
that's a fact.
Are you putting that Negro on the pedestal? Pay that nigga no mind. You put yourself on the pedestal, but the Negro don't understand this. If I tell a nigga, don't touch that hot stove, don't touch that hot stove, you want to see if the stove hot. And that's the same thing with this female. You keep talking about Pookie and Ray Ray, and I'm telling these niggas, man, look, them niggas is expendable, they come and go. But now you done sparked the curiosity in the hoe. And she gonna want to, you know, understand what this thug ass nigga is about. I say leave that shit alone.
Well, see, the thing is, you become their press agent when you do that. You become their biggest promoter and press agent. See what they want again. I did this on a podcast called Regime Change. What happens is they want regime change. They want a place where they're cherished and celebrated and desired. And if you want that, what you have to do, you have to create a new order. You have to create an order where intelligence, character, integrity, and competence is sexy, where that's championed. You have to create a space where women find that attractive, because the only way to defeat that dude is to defeat the culture that empowers him.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the only way you beat him. But sitting there complaining about him and talking about him all the time, the only thing you're doing is assuring that he's going to have a steady flow of pussy. Because the only thing is, you keep doing that, they're gonna keep running behind him. You're not gonna shame women into what they're attracted to. They're gonna run behind that nigga.
Okay.
I'm just saying when you done, if you see me, I got 75. You gone back.
Let me ask you brothers this question. Do y'all really want bitches that are running behind sucker-laid Negroes? That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying. I'm not.
When you say want, what you mean by want?
Want, fuck, suck, hang out, roll with, trying to be down, and literally offer themselves to be down by these niggas.
But that's my whole point. I'm
not trying to fuck with that.
They're already with those niggas. That's what you're doing is you recycling pussy. So ain't no brand new pussy out here. Ain't no virgins out here. I need to get my shit off. And if I want to get my shit off, I got 75, and you going back to that nigga. You can have it.
Okay, yeah.
I'm here. Just don't come my way and think I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save you. But I'm gonna save you for $75. After you get this 75, go back where you came from.
75.
Everything that Tony is saying, I was saying that 30 years ago, and that completely put pause in them women's game. I'm like, you ain't gotta lie to me and tell me that you love me, and I'm the only one. I got 75.
Yeah, I got 75.
And if I could get
bust
away
off
without
and I'm
giving
out.
them my number, I did. I tried not to give them my number.
No, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Do you think the wig is a virtuous woman?
Huh? What?
You heard
What?
you heard what I said. Do you think she's a virtuous woman?
What
If if you ran up on her West 144th Street between Broadway and Amsterdam, would you think she's a virtuous woman?
I got 75.
Thank you. So
all right. I can see. I can see a hole like that coming 1,000 miles away.
But that's my whole point, though. The thing is, we're under this illusion that these women are pure and all of these women done been ran through at some point in their life.
I don't know who. I don't know who's thinking that.
And it doesn't make them a bad person.
You got a lot of simps out here. You got a lot of simps.
No, it doesn't make them a bad person because they're getting a freak on. My thing is, I want my freak on. I got 75, but I don't want you. I don't need you over here with me.
Nah, I don't need it.
I don't want you over here with me.
Nah,
I want you here for 75, and if you behave, I may tip you. I may tip you now if you give me good customer service. You give me good customer service, I may tip you. But other than that, you going back over there with him.
Hey, man.
You can have him.
There's a YouTube out here that says hashtag pull them to the side, find them, fuck them, and flee. This is how I see that. Hashtag pull them to the side.
Find them, fuck them.
Hashtag pull them to the side, find them, fuck them, flee. Keep it moving. And that there's a YouTube out here talking this all day. It was kind of funny. But anyway,
I got a question though.
That's where we are in this. You know, that's how it is.
Man, say what's the question?
All right. This is what I don't like. People acting like they too fucking surprised that this shit turned out this way. That's when I start looking at motherfuckers.
No, I'm not surprised. No.
I'm like the subtitling is like 30 years ahead of this bitch's actions. You know what I'm saying? So you already know. You already know how this story's gonna end.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
This is a hood bitch. Hood bitch do hood things. With hood nigga. What's the shock? And
flew cross country to fuck the hood nigga. This is where these hoes flew cross country for that. These are where these hoes at. That's what I say. When I listen to these niggas out here, you listening to these hoes, don't listen to a damn thing they say.
They love these hoes, man.
But let's give them some red pill. Let's give them some red pill if we can. These niggas can't love these hoes. They gotta look at them what they are. They can't love them. They can't love them. They gotta look at them what they are.
They're gone. They love them. They lust after them. That's what it's all about.
Me and C Boogie talk about that. Me and C Boogie we talk every day. We talk about that all. We talk about it all the time. Go ahead.
You're gone. Have you read the 48 Laws of Power?
Come on, dog. What kind of question is that?
I'm asking you.
Does a bad shit in the woods, son?
Oh, of course. But in the 48 Laws of Power, they talk about learning to disdain that which you can't have. See, the real truth is they love them hoes.
They have y'all hold on for a second. They have fetishized her, because I'm not gonna say her name, and in her archetype. You know, a lot of guys want that little bit of ratchet sprinkled on top of the hoe, right? And she is the ultimate avatar for what guys really want. And so
the guys really want this whole god damn.
They don't want her for no wife, Nagone. They ain't trying to marry her.
They just want to fuck. They just want to fuck.
I don't know, y'all. These young guys are marrying these girls, marrying these hoes.
Yeah. They are wifing up some of these fucking hoes.
You understand this, Will? If they never had the access to that kind of hoe, if she's putting them titties up in the camera, she's doing live streams, and she can become a fetish. I'm not going to lie. If I had an opportunity, I'd run the dom game on a motherfucking ass. Another story for another day.
I'd run a dom game.
Come on, let's be real. Which one catch your eye in the club now? You go to the happy hour of the club. Which one catch your eye?
It's the bitch that's dressed all stank. It's the bitch that's dressed all stank. I'm gonna be honest. It's the one that's dressed stank. I'm not gonna lie. Look, man, I keep it 100, man. It's the one that dressed stank. You know. So it's like this. After she dropped
Oh my
that load,
God.
look. After
That's
she
why I
dropped
like this
that
guy.
load, listen. After she dropped that load, after she dropped that load, if I bump into her on a dark street corner in Dayton, I got 75. We ain't gotta tell nobody. It ain't gonna get back to YouTube. I may take pictures, but I got 75.
I'm gonna take some photos. But yeah, I hear you on that. Listen, I think that's that's the standard operation procedures of a nigga. That's what we do. We gonna roll up on a piece of head and try to bang it out. I mean, I understand all that, but having babies,
No,
wifing this shit up,
no,
come
no, no,
on,
no, 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 no,
dog.
no, no, no,
Come
no.
on, dog. That shit is insane.
The reason we said this, I said that when we did this podcast back in Mac City, I talked about years ago. I talked about loco parentis. I talked about how the divorce laws are slanted against men and how marriage
Yeah,
is not
yeah,
a good deal. How you can
yeah.
come into a marriage, and be making that motherfucker and barely have a pair of drawers. You see what I'm saying? Because the first thing they make you do when you go in that system, you have to submit what's called an affidavit of financial income and expense.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what they do to see how much money you have. It don't even matter whether she working or not. It don't even matter what her income is. And even when they came out with that Married Woman's Property Act, that did not usurp, that did not destroy the property dissolution acts and agreements that take place in domestic relations court. It did nothing. The only thing it did was say, okay, if you created bills in your name, you responsible for them bills. It didn't answer the question of why should this man have to give you 50% or 75% of his income when you didn't get out there and work a day in that sun, or you didn't get out there and slave a day in that jungle. The Married Woman's Property Act didn't answer that question. So what it does, it let her pay her own debt, but it took his money to pay her debts. So I told niggas a long time ago that marriage was another form of tricking. I told niggas a long time ago that marriage
Yeah,
was a form of draining a nigga's pocket. I just said
man.
there's a cheaper way to do it.
Listen. That's the whole
75.
that's the whole red pill, if you will say it, more MGTOW kind of game on that whole side. Brothers been talking this shit for years, no doubt about it. People don't think the marriage kind of like is worth it. I only say marriage is worth it if you're trying to have children, you want to raise children within those confines. Kids tend to do better if you have a halfway decent relationship and you raise kids in there with both. If you want to raise children, that's one thing. But if you out here marrying and just tricking and doing whatever you want to do just to say I want a piece of steady pussy on the side, then I think you asking to get your fucking nut sacks torn out. Now I
Yo, I
know
got a
for
question for Tony.
now I know for a fact in New York State, 53%. I keep saying it, 53% of all marriages end in divorce. So the majority of marriages in my state end in divorce. So
What's your,
so
what's your
Yo,
question,
Tony, you
Doc?
got a question. The question's from Bama's very own. So he said, technically, Tony is fucking for a flat rate.
well
Well,
anytime.
Everybody don't want to accept that either.
I said the only flat rate you get is in the whole house, and motherfuckers
boom,
like
there it is. There it is. There it is. There it is.
and motherfuckers laughed at me when I said it, but that's
There
where
it
your
is.
flat rate. If
That's
you
where your
want a
flat
flat
rate
rate,
is.
go to
It's
the
in the
whole house. There's a flat rate right there.
yes,
That's
yes,
where I see it. But if
yes.
you out here running around trying to play with these fucking with these chicken heads in the street, you
Jack.
gonna pay you this jackal. You gonna pay all different kind of rates. Some
Yeah.
motherfuckers gonna pay a little. Some motherfuckers gonna pay a lot, and some unfortunate niggas are gonna pay everything they ever had or ever will have.
There you
Yeah,
go. That's the only way. That's the only place that you gonna get a flat rate is if you paying for it. That's the
It's
only way you gonna get a flat
if
rate.
if you in
I
the
just
whole house, if you FKK in Berlin, FKK in Stuttgart, okay, FKK club, you walk in, $70 American, you walk in there, finest fucking white pussy walking around. If that's what you like, you gonna go up there, you gonna bow something crazy fine up, it gonna be bowed up, okay, $70, you gonna cap off, and then you gonna leave
You
70
mean
bucks.
wait a minute, Lagone? You mean you can do it for under 75? How can I use this salary to work for
Go,
me?
go to Germany. Okay, go to Stuttgart. Go fly right out of here, fucking the Kennedy Airport or whatever. Fly right out. Go right to Stuttgart, right over there. Okay, you get a good ticket, fucking round trip, $808. Go right to that motherfucker. Bop over there. That's crazy. You're gonna be on a plane 7 hours, 6, 7 hours. You're gonna be there. Land in Stuttgart. Go to FKK. Okay, down on Brandenburg. FKK. They got them clubs. They legal. You can go in there. $70 fucking $70 to walk in. You get your dick sucked even in the foyer. I walked in there. Niggas was in there getting they knobs polished right there. Some of the crazy shit walking around. Crazy, ridiculous looking shit. Ridiculous looking. $70, cap off, leave. That's what you want to do if you want to run over there and have a little fun and bang out and leave. That's what's going on. That's your flat rate. You want to get out here and fuck with these chicken heads and these other motherfuckers in the streets. Then you're going, there's gonna be a lot of them. There's gonna be some varying rates.
But if you think you're gonna talk them up out their panties and you want for a flat rate and you're not going in your pocket, you can forget that.
That's exactly. That's all I'm saying.
I
just want to draw it in crayons for the younger millennials. Yeah, this is about you putting some kind of value on your time and attention. Your time and attention don't make her panties wet. She ain't gonna drop them panties just because you listen real good. You take her to a few dinners or whatever. For those women, sometimes, occasionally, you can stand your ground and you can get it without the 75 to let her know that your time and attention ain't free. But for them ones that always need help at the first of the month, you got 75.
Let me say this real quick. See now, all right, Tony brought this up on the podcast a while back, but I started jumping up and down because I said, damn it, somebody thinks just like me. Now, Tony, you said niggas like Tom Likas is trying to tell the world that he ain't paying for no pussy. But niggas know Tom Likas is paying for that pussy.
Tom Likas is paying like he weigh. Tom Likas is not getting no bitch based on his personality. Neither is he getting a bitch based on his stardom. That fat Muppet-looking motherfucker is going in his pocket. The bitches got his credit card number, expiration date, and 3-digit code committed to memory. Tom Likas is not fucking for free. You can miss me with that shit.
No, but he's an asshole, Tony. Women like assholes.
Here's the difference. I'm glad you brought that up. If you are attractive to a bitch and you being an asshole, it's erotic. If you are unattractive to a bitch and there's nothing about you that this bitch is interested in and you're an asshole, it's annoying.
It is. Now there's one thing. There are some Negroes who are gifted with a beautiful mouthpiece. Some niggas can talk that shit to hoes. And they know how to play the game. That's not the majority of cats. I've seen it. I've seen dudes be able to talk bitch out their jaws because, let's admit it, a lot of these women, they like shit that's unusual to them.
I will never doubt that it's some niggas with a cold mouthpiece. Those niggas are far and few in between. 9 times out of 10, the average nigga that's dealing out here that doesn't meet the certain hierarchy, you can talk all day. They're like, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. There are some niggas. Take for instance the late Christopher Wallace. What he said, he went from ashy to classy, and he was saying black and ugly as ever. However,
big black nasty nigga. That's what he.
Yeah, but see, I stay Gucci down to the socks. See, he can sit there and talk a woman because he has that confidence and he's a street nigga. Remember what I said about aggression. In the black community, aggression is the key indicator of masculinity, not intelligence. It's aggression. So because he's aggressive, because he's a street nigga, because he can run that game, okay, maybe he can come up and he's less attractive because he got a deadly mouthpiece. But the average nigga that's out here that's square, that's running a 9 to 5, I'm talking about the UPS worker. I'm talking about the motherfucker that bought your check to your house. I'm talking about the motherfucker flipping waffles at the Waffle House. I'm talking about the motherfucker underneath a car turning a wrench. That ain't gonna work for him the majority of the time.
I would absolutely agree with that. I don't see anything wrong with what you're saying.
See, like here's the thing, and like one of the things, you know, that I challenged ARC with, I was like, dog, look, man, you can't be no 400-pound ugly motherfucker thinking you gonna be out here doing mode one. The bitch got to be attracted to you. Something has to stick out. You know what I'm saying? And that was my thing about mode one. I was like, look, I get it. Like, you let your intentions be known, you know, this, that, the third. You got mode one hardcore, then you got mode one default, you know, just regular talking to a bitch. But I'm thinking, Alan, dog, the bitch got to be attracted to something about you, man.
I think if you're aggressive, I think it's aggressive thing. So, I mean, I was talking to this pretty fine little hoe one time. This is years ago. I was actually I was working at a bouncer at a club, and I was talking to this one bitch, and we were sitting there. We were kind of rapping a little bit with some funny shit, and she was telling me about this one dude who she had worked with, who she wanted to fuck. She was telling me how she wanted to fuck this dude, but he was a ugly ass nigga. But he was really aggressive. She was like, this nigga didn't really even know I wanted to fuck him. He was an ugly nigga, but just the way he just came off, he just got my panties wet. But he didn't even know that. I used to get mad at too, but he could have fucked. And here's an ugly ass nigga who was aggressive to her, who this bitch was thinking about fucking just because, you know, it was a thrill fuck. It was, you know, it was a sports fuck or whatever, but it was a big nasty nigga who was talking all live on her shit. She made her panties wet. She wanted to fuck. So I'm just saying, even these big black nasty niggas who are out here walking around, if you nasty enough, you talking enough shit to one of these bitches, you gonna fall into some fine drawers. It is what it is, and I've had bitches tell me this. So you know, I've seen it.
You will have that, Nagone. I'm not saying you don't have that, but I'm saying that that's not enough to that's the exception. To borrow a phrase, to steal a phrase, that's the exception to prove the rule.
I don't know,
because I see a lot of these niggas out here just like that. So usually, when they get on,
out here if you want.
When they get on, they getting on with these hood bitches, or when they getting on, they're getting on with a woman like you said. Okay, she has a thing for the unusual. She has a thing for the strange.
And that goes on a lot.
You may catch women out here, but by and large, if you a nigga, again, turning wrenches, if you an ordinary square 9 to 5 dude,
I agree.
And if it's conversation, that ain't happening for you. But if you one of these G niggas, and you know how to talk that aggressive shit, and you know all the latest slang, all the latest street jargon, and you know all the shit to say, that may be possible. But for the everyday nigga, the everyday working class nigga, nah, you're a cornball.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I wouldn't disagree with that. I would not.
Let me say this. See, like when I used to go out, like hang out in nightclubs or whatever, like in my 20s, I would call it going out hunting, right? And so when I used to go out hunting, you know, it started with a mind frame, real predatorial. Like I would get out the shower, you know, get my clothes ready, you know, I mean, put all my coagulants on and shit like that, and I was in predator mode with that aggression.
That works.
And but the aggression was there, you know what I'm saying? And like he's right. You know, like when I used to talk to these broads, you know, I used to be in another mind frame. Like I can't really explain it. I would go to another zone, and that shit really worked, man. And so both of y'all motherfuckers is right. And if all else fails, I got 75, but got 75. But real talk, man, that aggression worked, man. You know, it has got me in the door on plenty of occasions, man. When I'm in full hunt mode, like when I'm on that prowl, you know, I smell a bitch from down the street, man. You know, it's just another feel, man. It's another vibe that go with that shit. Black Ram, what's up, dog?
Oh shit, Black Ram up in here.
Oh, what's up?
Black Ram,
We got
two
heavyweights
shit,
up
Black
in here.
Ram. Oh,
Man.
What's good? What's good?
What's happening?
up, baby? Oh,
What's happening?
oh shit,
What's
the
up,
Ram
man?
up in this
What's up,
motherfucker. God damn.
That's awesome.
Yo, man, it's great to see you up in here, brother. Oh,
Man,
my
it's
God,
good to see you, brothers. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Man of tomorrow, what's happening? See Boogie, gone.
Oh, Black Ram. Hey, you know something, Black Ram? We got a name for you, man. I call you the Van Helsing of the manosphere, man. You slay that sucky, but she come up, you put them ram horns on, knock her ass back, she fall back, and then takes out the sword, takes her head off before she can even get that stinger tail to come up to get you. She
What
gone.
trip me out, dude, like Batman.
He moves on. Yeah, man. The black,
Dude
he
like
very helpful,
Batman. He
man.
just like swoop down on people on hangouts, man. Like
Oh,
Yeah,
you need a theme song, man. You need a theme song.
yeah, Black Ram, jump
Black
in here real.
Ram. God
Yo,
damn.
jump in here for a second, man. We talking about this aggression that this succubus tends to like, man. Jump in here and give us your 2 cents, Black Ram.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm subscribed to Max City Limits. That's your thing, right, Tony Maceo? I think Tony Maceo,
Tony.
you a Max City
I'm
Limits,
here.
right?
Yeah.
Man, Tony, you was spitting fire, man. I was like, damn. I mean, you were telling the raw, unadulterated truth, man. And you too, see Boogie and the Gone, man. Tomorrow y'all always come with that fire truth, man. Here's the thing that y'all said that was just so key. You have to have a hook when it comes to the female.
Yeah.
It ain't just game. Listen, you can have all the game in the world, slick mouthpiece, but if you a funky, dirty, ugly, short, nasty looking motherfucker, it ain't happening. Sorry. It ain't happening. A woman take one look up at you, up and down. And here's the difference. It's one thing when a man is attractive to a woman, he can be an asshole that can be considered nice. But if you're not attracted to her, being an asshole is considered violent. It's considered a bad thing. She'll call the police on you, call her brothers on you. So I know we like to play this charade as if a mouthpiece is everything, but it's other elements that have to come along with that.
Yeah.
And what Tony said about that aggression is true. Now, if you are an ugly motherfucker and you real aggressive, because growing up on the west side of Chicago, man, that's what it was. Either you had to have money or you had to be a gangster. Now, if you can be an ugly gangster, but you had to be a gangster, you had to be aggressive, because what Tony said is that is the marquee of manhood in the black community, aggression. Now, you're gonna have a long lifespan with that. It's plenty of things that go wrong with that. The female is cheerleading in the background while you go ape shit in the hood, and you got a big old target on your back. You ain't gonna live long with that shit, but in the meanwhile, the female is gonna love you. Here's the thing about the black female: she's a beast, right? So you have to come with some type of animalistic mentality in order to attract her, or just a bunch of money.
It's like it's almost like being a lion tamer. That's shit like at the circus. You have to tame that beast.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So when we were talking about the Pookie, and that's his edge. His aggression is what puts him on. But like my man just said, you got a short shelf life with that. Your expiration life is quicker than a motherfucker. Because now you done made all these enemies in the street. You got and then you got other niggas scheming on the bitch who's probably your best friend, scheming on the bitch. You got all these type of machinations and schemes and plans and all this shit happening. So that assures that he won't be there long.
Absolutely.
So
for Black Ram, because I want Black Ram's input on this, bro. Now, black females, it's to the point with them, whereas you don't even have to be in an intimate relationship with them. If black females don't find you somewhat attractive on any level, even working with a black female can be horrible. Even retail, standing in line for burgers and fries, you will see it on her face.
Yes.
I'm telling black women have made it clear. You have to have something that they attracted to, or you got to have that 75.
Yes. I've noticed that in my everyday life, whether it's at the checkout, whether it's women you work with, if they're not attracted to you, don't find something attractive, or they feel like they can't use you for something.
That's right.
I had a buddy of mine who thought he was a player because he would always buy lunch for about 4 or 5 different female employees, and he really believed that they liked him. No, nigga, you buying lunch for these hoes.
You buying lunch, nigga. That's what
right, you buying lunch. So of course they love you because you buying lunch. So if they're not getting something from you, then they don't respect you. They don't care nothing about you. That's just the truth.
Facts.
It comes to knowing who you dealing with. You see what I'm saying? You have to at all times know who you dealing with. You think a bitch ain't gonna take a free lunch if she can get it?
Of course.
She gonna take that. That's what she made to do.
You know, she gonna take
born to
she
do.
gonna take a free lunch, a free breakfast, a free dinner, 4, 5 desserts, a couple bags of popcorn, a couple of 2 liters. She gonna take everything she can get if she can get that shit. That's just
Absolutely.
that's what it is. It was this one stripper. The first time I knocked a stripper.
Yeah, not one doing that.
I was a bail bonds. I still do bail bonds from time to time, but I was in the midst of that hustle. So in strip clubs, that's where I got most of my business, because all they niggas was going to jail. So because they niggas was going to jail, I had a ready-made supply of pussy right there. All I had to do was apply the right pressure, and it was mine.
Wow.
So what happens is that every, because strippers don't make no money, regardless of this myth that they telling you about how they pay them hoes don't make no money. It's a pyramid scheme, just like the dope game.
Yeah.
So she was in there constantly asking for $20 to eat, $20 to eat. Well, I just laid that trap of $20 right on into my apartment, and then before you know it, I had her and her best friend, and I was having one of the finest hours I ever had in my life.
Man,
and it was just, all I did was just say, okay. But then what happens is it's just like welfare. It's just like the welfare system. The welfare system gets you hooked on the dependency. You get hooked on it, and you get hooked on it until you find your way and you can't get off of it. So now you do what I say, and I say, bring that bitch home with us, and we finna make it happen up in here. And that's exactly what she did.
Yeah.
Now, Tony, let me say this one thing, Tony. You made an excellent point, man, when you talked about marriage or a married man being the biggest trick out there. Actually, I don't know what negative connotation that you can put on it, but the married man is paying over and over again for overpriced pussy, the same pussy that everybody else has had, overpriced over and over again for the same woman, and he's promising her not only his finance and his resources, but monogamy as well. So I don't even think that a married man can even be considered like a trick. I mean, it's like worse than a simp. I mean, I don't know what you can put a modern day married man. And like the girl said, only if you're going to get married to have babies, yeah. But even in this country, doing that is still asinine. Man.
Let me give the politically correct answer. Marriage is the backbone of a nation. You absolutely need to replenish your society. You need to have children, or else it's going to be the end of the human race. I get that. But what I'm saying is this: when I worked in the legal system, because I've done quite a bit of shit in my life, when I saw how gangster that shit was, when I came across these 2 words, loco parentis, when I understood I was working on a nigga's child support case, and he wasn't even the father. But because he had been with that woman and had been in that house for 5 years,
he's on the hook.
The court said, well, okay, you are not her you're not that child's biological father, but we're applying the doctrine of loco parentis. Loco parentis is Latin. It means one who stands in the place of a parent. So even though when he tried to get away from this woman, even though this woman was getting gang banged by every gangster on the north side of Flint, when this bitch was having trains ran on her, all kind of shit was happening to her, and he could not stop paying for her for the simple fact he wasn't married to her, wasn't his kid, for the simple fact that he had been in that house with that bitch for 5 years. He had to pay about $900 a month for a house he wasn't even living in, and for a bitch he wasn't even fucking.
What?
And that's a common thing. I've seen
thing. It. Yeah, that happens. That happens a lot. That shit is crazy. And I see these bitches out here, and they constantly looking for something. I remember I used to have this little friend. We used to kind of mess around with. We used to call her Anita. Her name was not Anita, but we used to say her name was Anita because she was like, I needed this, I needed that, I needed this, I needed that. There was always a need. There was always something that she was looking for. And me and a couple of my boys, we polished it off. We kind of passed it around like a Philly blunt. But at the end of the day, this chick was there, literally serving niggas up just to fucking keep her game going. And that's what these bitches do. That's what these bitches do. These married bitches do the same thing as well.
Absolutely.
So I mean, that's kind of how I see it. That's how I see these hoes. I wasn't never going down that road again. But anyway, go ahead.
When you just look at the spectrum in the Western world of dealing with just male and female relationships in general, regardless of race, if one was just to sit back objectively and just look as a man in today's world, It seems to me, and I have to concede this. Now it's on the individual if they figure this is moral or not. I can't make a decision for someone, but the most logical conclusion someone would come to, looking at the dynamics, the social dynamics of dating in America, particularly, but the Western world as a whole, paying the $75 flat rate, as Tony Maceo said, makes the most logical sense, is the most logical conclusion.
For sure.
And I'm kind of amazed when men really rail against that. But if you were just looking objectively, you don't have to agree with it. You don't have to think it's right or wrong.
No, but I'm gonna tell you, Black Ram,
logical.
You pay for this. You pay for this. Well, you pay for this.
Right.
It's
the most logical.
Well, like here's the problem, Ram. You know, and I've always said this, bro. It's too much dick watching in Black America. You know, like even when guys go overseas, you always got this one group of guys that try to shame Negroes, for going over there. That shit gotta stop, man. The dick watching in Black America is one thing. The white boys watch out dick. The Black women watch out dick. Now you got other Black men watching other Black men's dicks, man. I'm like, damn,
Absolutely.
The shit is like the CIA, man.
Yeah, fellas, can I make a couple of public announcements?
Go ahead.
PSA, number 1, go to Black Ram's site. Look for the video where he talked about his Black Ram 313. Go check out the video where he talked about his association, his affiliation with the street organization, and how the women treated him when he was in it and when he was out of it.
Oh yeah.
Then go
Black Ram is talking
them back. Hold on. Public service announcement ain't over. Then go to Max City Limits and find where Tony's cohort was talking about how he was not able to call the woman a bitch, but other guys can. Okay, you hear that? And then this is how you know she might take 75. If you take her out to dinner, and she asks for a second entree to go, she might take 75. That's the end of the
kids.
And a lot of guys have been caught up into that. A lot of guys have seen that. In fact, I was watching a video of a guy who was taking a woman out, and then the woman came back and was, they were leaving, and she was like, "Can you buy this for my kids? I have my kids. Can you buy these extra plates for my kids?" Because and the simp ultimately agreed to doing it. He was upset, but that's what this old did. I don't believe he even polished it off. But I'm
gonna say this, man.
Ask her to feed her kids on his date.
I'm gonna say this, man.
This is what these old.
I'm not surprised at nothing that's going on out here with these women, right? To be honest, I've seen so much debaucherous shit with these females, but here's my thing, and I constantly got to pound on this. The beta male is necessary, at this point. You need the beta male out here to handle certain things. He has his place. He handles things while you gone. The beta male could be the husband. Like once you dive real deep into this red pill relationships, man, woman, female nature, male nature, man, it's really a dark side to this shit, man. It's really a dark side to this shit. I've had 2 females in my lifetime that told me, and they volunteered this information. They said, "I don't care if I ever got married. I would never stop fucking you." And let me tell you why she said that. Because I ran a major dom game on her motherfucking ass. And the other guys that she dealt with after me, they were scared to do some things. They were too timid. They didn't have what Tony Maceo said, that fucking aggression. I ran a major dom game. I had 2 bitches volunteer that information. Not that I would sleep with them if they were married, but they volunteered this to me. And a lot of guys don't understand, man. Sometimes there is another guy allowing you to sleep with either your long-term girlfriend or wife. Once you really get into the specifics and the minutia of this shit, a lot of guys can't stomach this shit, man. And I tell guys, man, know what you're dealing with. Man. Seek respect first, man. If you plan on dealing with a few, I'm not talking about short-term 75 situations, but if you plan on dealing with a bitch, seek that respect first, man. Because once you chasing pussy, if all you want is the pussy, sure enough, you will start to show simp signs. and then she's gonna use you. You seek that respect. You recalibrate your whole fucking game out here, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, see,
Hold on. I just want to say this very quickly.
Even if it's short term, you still got to get your respect. Because if you don't, that bitch will have you jacked. That bitch will have you jacked. She have you set up raw. So you still have to get some type of respect from them when you're dealing with them. You still have to be assertive. You still have to have some degree of aggression. When I say I got 75, that don't mean I'm walking up to them saying, "Look, I got $75. Can I get some head?" That's not what that is. These are usually women that I know through an informal relationship. I know them from around the way, or I know them because I done got their nigga out of jail 100 times, or I know them. There's some type of primary relationship. So what I have to let them know is, I'm like, okay, you coming to me. I'm basically loan sharking. I'm basically loan. Okay, you coming to me because every time, you know, you in my debt, you need something. You want a payment plan on a bond, or you want this, or you want that. Okay, well, here's what I want. Here's what I need. I need my shit vacuumed. I need my house and shit vacuumed. I need this shit done, and I need me some of that good, righteous, delicious, juicy neck. That's what I need. And I got 75. This is what I'm gonna give you. And the answer is always yes, because 9 times out of 10, I can relate to them. I can talk to them. I speak their language. I understand their life. I understand their culture. I understand where they come from. And see, they know that if they fuck with me, I'm gonna bring the war. Because see, if you fuck with me, you know, bad shit might happen to you. Your nigga may get caught up. His spot may get raided. The marshals may come and pick you up. See, bad shit like that happen when you fuck with me. So it's a little different. Well, I can't really afford to fuck over this dude. So they know to a certain extent that if they fuck with me, there's a certain degree of fuckery I will allow. There's a certain degree, but it's limited. But if they're coming with the rest of that shit, they know they got to leave that shit at home, partner.
But yeah, because you leaving a sort of Damocles over their head, okay? And quite frankly, if you didn't have a sort of Damocles over their head, you know, this babe who you might think you might have control could actually be being down by somebody else.
Exactly.
And you wouldn't even know it. Now what's funny was I was in my gym, and I'm the bodybuilding gym, dudes, going ham. This one dude, Jose, he's over there with this married chick who he's working out with. And then I found out later, of course, he was fucking her. He was banging her. And then one day we were having a conversation. We were all sitting there together having a conversation. He, Jose, this chick, me, and my boy Pat. We're sitting there having a conversation with her. And she sits down and says, well, most women are only loyal. This is a woman now, married woman, fucking a juice head bodybuilder. Husband barely comes into the gym. Father and brother work out in the same gym that she's in. Same gym, father, brother working out. She banging this dude on the side in the same gym. And she told me and my boy, yeah, well, women are really only really loyal to their options.
Boom. There it is.
Loyal. And she said this. And I sat there and looked at it. Me and my boy, I just started laughing. We just started laughing at this shit. And here it is. And I'm sitting here. Here's a married woman banging this other dude. And now, of course, she's pregnant with a second child with her husband. But yet, here she was banging a big juice-headed bodybuilding fucking, juice savage. And this is what she had to say. This is this bitch.
Well, he got a sword of Damocles over her head. He got a sword. You always have to have a sword when you're dealing with bitches.
And these motherfuckers are pedestalizing these hoes. This is what they're thinking. These are the kind of games that they're playing. And I'm just saying,
hey, Ram,
brother. Yo, Ram, that's just some crazy shit, right?
Yeah, man. And here's what bothers me about the whole situation like that. And this is why I created my channel. And thanks for that PSA, Dollar. Man, tomorrow you're a little bit quiet over there, man. It's good to see you, MOT. Yeah. But here's what bothers me about situations like that. So you got a woman that cheats on her husband. Okay. All right. Nothing new under the sun. I get that. We understand the dual mating strategy of the female. We understand alpha fucks, beta bucks. We understand that the female, when she's young, not that she gets wiser. When she's young, her options are the thugs and the gangsters, and they liking her, they fun, they exciting. She wants to have sex with a guy that's tall, that wears pants down. The gangsters, what's attracted to her. I get that, okay? Then when she gets older, she wants to marry a man who, is pretty much what is called a lame or beta, or a guy who pretty much worked hard and stayed out of trouble. Now she wants him to wife her up and take care of those children. But that's still not just the biggest problem for me. My channel is about making men aware of that type of situation and saying, hey, value yourself above that. But here's what bothers me. So you got a female who dated the thugs, marries a beta. Now, I feel a little bit sorry for the beta, because here's the thing about the beta. That same man, Brother Nagone, that you talked about, that's at home while his wife is getting banged up by the musclehead in the gym.
Yep.
Here's the thing.
The man at home,
the man at home will willfully and gladfully protect his thought wife with his own life. Not only is he giving him his resources, but will protect him, this thought, with his own life. Now you see how extremely serious a situation like this
of course.
Is. Ram. There's a word for that. Mm-hmm. It's called cuckoldry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But see, the thing is,
but this guy don't even know he being cucked.
Yeah, Nagone, that's the whole point. Nagone said, well, you have a sword of Damocles. And what I'm saying to you is that when you deal with these hoes in the street, you must always have a sword of Damocles.
Absolutely.
You must always have some way to apply pressure.
Absolutely.
You must always have a way to enact a consequence. They have to know that if they do what that girl did to that dude, now right now he's fucked, he married her. So and then he done fucked around and got kids by her. So now what happens if he try to leave her?
You got horse and home. If he tries to leave her, he finished.
He'll be somewhere in the back of a Chevy eating cold pork and beans and zucchini out of a goddamn can. It's over for him.
He finished.
So he done been cucked in his own house.
Yep.
He finished.
What's even worse is he don't know it. I sympathize with those brothers too. I sympathize with them. And that's why I can tell a motherfucker with a straight face, I got 75.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you never get an argument here, but there's a lot of this cucking going on. And what was illest was even her father and her brother were in the same gym. And I know they were looking at it sideways, but this bitch was that reckless.
Yo, like, let me say something real quick.
Just didn't give a fuck. All right. Go ahead. Somebody answer something.
Yeah, like, dog, like when I was in the military, man, this was one of the most red pill experiences I had, dog, dealing with these military wives. And, dog, when a unit goes on deployment, the whole base, the temperature of the base changes, because now you see these wives get giddy. They happy. You be like, damn, what the fuck is going on? But then that unit left today. Dumb hoes is in the club that same night. Nigga, I was fucking these bitches in housing. On a military base, it's insulated. So everybody knows everybody. Dumb hoes are so reckless. I was in housing, fucking a bitch, spending the night over this bitch house, and she didn't even give a fuck. This is how fucking bold she was with the fuckery. And I was like, yo, this is unreal. And so it got to a point when I was like 21, 22, I was like, I'm not fucking no more married women, because it was getting out of hand with these units deploying. And these wives was throwing out pussy. If you was a halfway decent looking motherfucker, you was catching that shit like a baseball glove. And I was like, yo, man, the fucking husband, because I was married before too, and I've been through some shit, man. I was like, the husband is a fucking cuck. He can be, man. I don't want to scare anybody, but if y'all this real red pill shit, sometimes there's another man out there allowing you to fuck your wife.
And you know what, see, Boogie? Here's the thing what we all know, but we hate to really admit and realize. Here's the thing that we know.
What? I'm serious.
Here's the thing that we know, see, Boogie.
What's up, bro?
Here's the issue, right? And this is why I gotta salute Tony Maceo and his mentality, man. What you're basically saying is that, and what we basically know is that they are all whores. Why not treat them like such?
That's something. Some red. Yeah. Hold on a second before we say something. Now, I've talked a lot of hoes. I've heard a lot of shit from bitches. I had a woman tell me we're whores.
Absolutely.
Bitches, we are basically hoes, and basically we are loyal to our fucking options. That's what we roll on. But on the whole deal, we is hoes. And any brother, once you've heard that, and you think about this virtuous fucking, babe out here, you are a fucking simp, a sucker, and if you stay on that path, you gonna get torn out the frame. And that's where you're at in this. And a lot of cats don't want to deal with that. They just don't. That's why this red
people don't understand.
That's why this red pill motherfucker. This red pill motherfucker.
It's too hard on the mind. It's too hard on the mind, brother. Because if men realize this, they wouldn't get married. They wouldn't get married. It's too hard on the brain to realize that your woman is A, a former slut, B, a current slut, and C is just waiting an opportunity to be even a bigger slut. That's hard for the male brain to conceive, because we like to do nigga. We think we're gonna swoop down with our cape and our big old dangalang, and she gonna and we really believe her lies that she in love and that she'll never go nowhere, she'll never cheat, and we the best man she ever had. And I said this before, if your woman say you the best man, my woman say I'm the best man,
and the baby
woman say that, MOT woman say that, Tony Maceo woman say that, Dollar woman say that, then what the hell? We all the best men she ever had?
Man, shit. Only thing I can say is I have respect for some of these people out here who doing they swinging thing and do whatever they want to be in these marriages, and they want to have this open shit. They want to do their open fucking. I know a lot of people sitting there saying, "What? That could never happen." But at the end, but at the end of the day, this is what's going on. There was a game show that was on a few years ago. I keep forgetting the name of it. It was a game show where ultimately married couples would have to come in there and admit to some of the worst shit they ever did, and they could win a prize and walk away, with like $500,000. And you had this one married chick. They were destroying their marriages up in there. They took the show off. This one married babe was in there admitting to fucking niggas in the crib, banging motherfuckers in her own bed. Her husband didn't know any of this shit. And they're sitting there with their family, sitting there looking at him, and you can see this guy just literally sinking into his chair. And his wife was thinking about the $500,000 she could possibly win. She just started admitting all the shit. Think about the money she was going to gain. Almost forgot about this nigga and was admitting to some of the most debaucherous shit you've ever heard. And this is going on in marriages every day. I've banged married women. I had a married woman over my house a couple of years ago, and at the cul-de-sac at the end of my house, I was banging this chick, big fat ass babe, knocking it out. She was telling me her husband had diabetes and he couldn't do this and he couldn't do all that. Till one fucking day I see this motherfucker driving up around my cul-de-sac, driving around this car. I said, what is your husband doing here, Jennifer? Well, he may be tracking me on my phone. Oh, he's tracking you on your phone? I'm sitting there thinking, this bitch may try to get me blasted. That's when I said I'm not fucking with any more married women, because these bitches are fucking stupid. But they're out here fucking like hoes. And most guys don't really understand this. I look at the marriage game right now, and I'm like, your wife's a hoe. You may as well take it out to the fucking local swing club and have her bang out a little bit. You bang out too, bring her back home, and this is where you're at. I know a lot of guys can't deal with that, but that's
let me say that.
But that's what the wife wants.
I know it's fucked up to even have to say something like that, but it goes on so wholesale. That's why I don't fuck married women anymore. I don't do it.
Yo, hold on.
I realize these bitches don't care. And could get you killed. Let me say, you don't watch it. Anyway, go ahead.
Let me say this, dog. Drop a little game for niggas. I always tell guys, man, like when you're dealing with a female, dog, don't be asking this whole questions you ain't ready for.
Oh,
a lot of guys do that, man. If you're not ready for those answers, don't be asking her, how many guys she been with, this, who she talking to, this. No. You start a new regime. This is what you do with this female. As long as she pick up the phone when you call, as long as she do what you tell her to do, don't worry about the rest of that shit. You cannot be in total, unless you handcuff that hoe to the radiator. Real talk. You cannot control her. This bitch is getting banged out in their cars at work, and you thinking, look, man, I don't want to scare anybody, but it's like, stop thinking about the fuckery. If it happened, it happened. Yo, you think people that been married 30, 40 years don't have skeletons in their closet, bruh?
Man, they got skeletons rattling, man, fucking like sabers up in that motherfucker.
Tell guys, stop worrying about the shit you can't control. You can't control another person, man. But what you can control is how you react. You handle that shit in a dignified manner. Don't be asking stupid ass fucking questions that you probably know the answer to. If she's doing what you tell her to do and she's running on your program, whatever that shit she doing behind your back, look, man, just don't think about it, man. You'll drive yourself fucking crazy, man.
And when she do something extra freaky that you like, just toast the guy that taught her.
95.
And let me say this: that you know, I was in Brazil. I was living down there for a while, and this was really wild. I was at the Gracie School over there, Figueiredo Magalhães, and I was training over there with the Gracies. And there was this one teacher who used to come in, and she was up from Vitória, and she would come down every about 3 weeks or so and do a few classes because she was doing some online shit with them. But anyway, to make a long story short, we started having a long conversation. We was getting drunk, getting nice up in my apartment one day. We was getting tuned up, and we were talking about Carnival. And she told me, listen to this, fellas, a teacher, a fucking teacher. This is a jiu-jitsu artiste. She told me that one year she was tight on money. She was, trying to feed her family. She had these things going on and doing whatever. And she said that one weekend in Carnival, she didn't tell me how many years ago it was. But that's when you say, don't ask these questions you don't want to hear. We were drinking a little bit. She told me how many dudes she fucked in 2 days. She said she fucked about 48 guys in 2 days.
Because she could.
48 niggas. Got money for it, of course. This is during Carnival, going wild. But that's what she told me. I said, how the fuck this bitch fucked 48 niggas in 2 days? She told me this. When you say don't ask those questions, you don't want to hear. I mean, she told me, and I was like, unbelievable. A teacher walking around.
But see, here's the thing, though.
Had a nice body, look regular, but this is the body.
Here's the thing, man.
This is the body count this whole had on. Incredible.
Here's the thing,
incredible,
man.
Guys. Incredible. Anyway,
I think we got to start looking at this shit, especially if guys plan on staying in the Western, hemisphere, and not moving abroad. We got to look at this shit at this point in reality and from a mature point of view. I'm not surprised at a hoe. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm
not the fact that I got ice in my fucking veins or my but the reality is this, man. I put women in two categories: limited sexual experience and advanced sexual experience. But they are fucking, right? They are fucking. Don't get it fucked up. So I try to look at this shit from a more mature point of view. I don't be asking dumbass questions no more because I used to do that stupid ass shit, right? Get these fucked up answers from the bitch and she tell me the truth. Now, you know what I'm saying? I'm teething. You know what I'm saying? So now, man, I'm just like, you know what? As long as she on my fucking program and she doing what I asked her to do and what she needs to do, the rest of that shit, dog, I really try not to worry about. I just don't worry about it, man. I don't wreck my brain at this whole. I don't go through her phone. It's just certain shit, man, I used to do. I just don't do no more, man. I'm like, you know what? You got to look at this shit from another point of view, man.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, Boogie.
Yo, what's up, bro?
Now, that makes a lot of sense. You're doing that for your own mind and for your own heart's sake.
Right.
The only thing is that going through a woman's phone, yeah, you're most likely going to find something. But here's the conundrum here, right? If you're going to deal with a woman, knowing that she has a promiscuous past, and the best indicator of the future is past history, of course.
That's right.
We have to learn. And this is what I'm trying to get to on my channel. And we have to learn how to deal with these women at a distance. Because here's the problem again, C Boogie. You don't go through your girl's phone. You don't ask her no questions and all of that. But here's the thing that bothers me. You'll still protect this woman with your life. That's what bothers me. You will protect this whorish woman who does not have your best interest in mind or at heart, and she's out there doing any and everything. And here go the thing: if she'll cheat on you, she'll kill you too. Okay. So we have to learn, right, to deal with women at a firm, comfortable distance, man.
Drop the fucking mic. God damn.
Because here's the thing, see, Boogie. Let's say you got a girl, you've been with her 8, 9, 10 months. You like her, she like you, y'all doing y'all thing. If y'all out on the town, y'all out of town somewhere, you're out on the night, a guy jumps out, especially if you're in some of these rough neighborhoods, you're going to be expected to defend her. So is your life worth the life of a whore? That's
Boy, oh boy.
That's a good point.
how do so knowing that these women don't value you as a man, don't value you as a man, and they don't love you, knowing that, right? How do we then begin to deal with the average liberal female of today and still keep our integrity, still keep our money, and still keep our life? That's the conundrum. That's the issue. Yeah, you don't want to go through a phone. Yeah, you don't want to ask a lot of questions. But if somebody kicked that door in, you're gonna stand in front of that bullet.
Okay, well, here's my thing, man.
You give him 75 and her.
Absolutely.
Here's my thing, man.
Hold a second, Professor Van Helsing. I have to ask you this: is it worth standing up to protect this fucking whore, Professor Van Helsing?
I'm gonna say no.
There we go. That's my answer. All right, go ahead, T Boogie. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But here's my thing for Ram. See, you can go through the phone, and there's nothing wrong with going through the phone, but that's for the guys that can handle what they're going to see. Now, some guys go through the phone, then immediately go upside that bitch head. It's like, dog, you know, I understand when you want to protect yourself, you want to be in the know with this hoe, but dog, all I'm saying is don't do shit that you're not ready for. And a lot of guys do this and make that mistake. You know, I went through my going through phones period and all that kind of shit. And I was like, you know, got kind of tired of it. And I know 10 times out of 10, if I ask the hoe, she's going to lie to me.
Absolutely.
So you're really kind of stuck either way.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you really deal with it? Besides, like you say, Ram, without dealing with them, just dealing with them from a distance, a safe distance, you know?
And there is the imbalance in dating. When you're dealing with a woman, whether she your wife, woman, or your girlfriend, you're expected to provide and protect for her, right? You expect submission from her. That really doesn't mean shit. You expect her to cook. That really don't mean shit. You expect to push. That really don't mean shit. And as far as balancing it out, your life for her submission and servitude, is that really equal? Of course not. So here go the thing. Here go the options. Play that flat rate, like Tony Maceo saying. Deal with them at a distance. Pump and dump, which I don't necessarily advocate. My thing is pump and let her dump. So you got to understand, okay, what options do you have? Because again, what you're expected to do and what you will do is far greater than she ever could, or she's furthermore than she's expected in a relationship. Now, here's the thing. Now, I can jump out and say that I won't protect the woman, but here's the thing, Nagone. If I'm walking down the street late at night with my girl or with any woman that I'm dealing with, if somebody's trying to threaten her, they're threatening me as well. So you really don't have that option. And in the long term, you may end up sacrificing your life for her. And maybe that may not be in every case, and maybe that may be far-fetched for some. However, there still is that expectation of your life for hers, no matter what situation it is. And I'm just saying, is it really worth it? So how do we win in a situation like that? And that's my problem. So my point is, last thing, that same woman that's going to cheat on her husband, the same woman who really don't think, you know how, I don't know if you guys ever heard women speak about their husbands when their husbands aren't around. I've never heard a woman say great things about her husband. It's always, he ain't this, he ain't that, he ain't shit, he ain't this, he ain't that. But yet and still, he's expected to provide and protect her, right? So there's such an imbalance, man. And women really don't bring any damn thing to the table. So we have to figure out a way, and I think I have a solution, to deal with them and maintain ourselves. Because at the end of the day, she's just a whore that when you're no longer useful, she's going to the next guy. And we have to really start seeing and believing that.
Do you think a lot of guys actually internalize this shit, right?
No, they try to avoid it, man. It's like, do I want to live a cold reality or a happy lie? So men, just like women do, we lie to ourselves about the nature of the female, and we try to cope. Because no man wants to really wants to say this, you know what, my woman really doesn't love me. She's here because what she can get, or how I can fulfill her emotions, or whatever the thing that she's looking for. Even if that's just companionship, it ain't necessarily always about money. You could just be there just because you are, you know, a compatible nigga, you know. But at the end of the day, she really doesn't have that for you, that love for you, and that sacrifice for you that you would really think that she has. And here's the thing. The only way you know a woman loves you if she put up with your shit. Me personally, brothers, I hate to I don't want to really sound too misogynist or too crazy, but I try to put a bitch through a lot of shit so I can know that she's willing to sacrifice a whole lot of herself for me. And if she can't deal with all of my shit, if she can't deal with the fact that I deal with multiple women, if she can't deal with the fact that I ain't always reachable, if she can't deal with the fact that I'm not always going to be listening to her bullshit, then she don't love me and she don't care for me. So I try to put women through a bunch of shit. I am a misogynist. I am a chauvinist.
That's your shit. Those are your shit tests.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Those are your shit tests.
Because again, because at the end of the day, I'm still expected to protect her with my life. So I need to know that she able to handle all my bullshit. And here's the thing: real game is reversing the game. You taking what females do and you using it on them for your purposes. That's what real game is. If you want to really get the boats and nails part of this shit, game is using female strategies and tactics on her ass.
Oh my God, that's exactly That's what I call relationship jujitsu. That's exactly how you got to play that. Damn right, Brother Ram.
Here's my thing. I don't believe. See, the thing is, I don't believe that when you're dealing with women, there are no guarantees. And that's the one thing that's guaranteed is the fact that there are no guarantees.
That's right.
Now, you say that. C Boogie asked the question. He said, "Have some dudes internalized that?" I think some of the MGTOW guys have internalized that, and that's why they are the way they are, the extreme guys. But I was one of those. Let me, Mr. I got 75. I arrived at this process through an evolutionary, a fucking evolutionary cataclysm, because I was one of those dudes who went to the school of hard knocks. See, I'm one of those dudes you were talking about when I went on deployment, and the woman I was engaged to was fucking another dude. I had my slick Rick treat him like a prostitute moment when I came home off cruise and all the lights was out and the bitch was fucking. And then when I went for her, the motherfucker jumped up and put his clothes on, and my ATM card fell out of his shirt pocket.
Damn.
You see what I'm saying? I had that experience. I had that experience.
Your ATM fell out of his pocket? God.
Yeah, because see, I was on deployment at the time. I was in the Navy. I was deployed at the time. So I left her the ATM card for her to pay the bills, and I made my money gambling on the boat. Because you know how it is when we deploy. We make money, we pay spades, tongue, whatever it is, we gambling. So I let her, because she had a baby. And so me in there trying to be Superman, Dudley Do-Right, pull the bitch off the train track. Ha ha. No, wrong answer, Captain. Nope, ain't happening. So I come home and all the motherfucking lights out. I'm 22 years of age at the time. I'm 22 years of age. I come home, the lights are out. I go in the bedroom of the place where I pay rent at, and that bitch in there with that motherfucker getting the boots knocked. She getting her back blown, her back shot for days. And then when I see this motherfucker jump up to put his clothes on and put his shirt on, and my ATM card fall out of his pocket, that's an experience that you never forget. And from that moment forward, I knew that when it came to women, you have no guarantees. When it came to women, that there is no guarantee that this woman that there are no guarantees. And for people that don't believe in the level, like you said, what I think it was Dollar Will that said, salute the nigga that taught her to do the nasty shit. Yeah, because that dude is somewhere in the periphery. He's somewhere around. He's somewhere around. So if you when you understand that, when you understand what's going on and you see what's going on, it leaves you're always skeptical. You're always sleeping.
Tony, I got a question. Tony.
What's up?
I want you to run down this Dom game and how that sometimes is the equalizer.
Well, I mean, the Dom game, it has to be something that it's just something that's in you. I mean, it's not something that can be really explained with words, but it's something where a woman knows that you're firm in resolution, that you're not going to take no shit off of her, that you are going to control her, and that she is not going to control you. That is, again, it's like what Black Ram was saying earlier. It's like a beast. You dealing with a fucking lion. You have to tame that lion. The Dom game is all about being the fucking lion tamer. Look, bitch, jump through these hoops. Jump through this hoop. That shit on fire. Jump. Mush. Pow. Mush. Jump. Mush. Jump.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's a lion. It's a breaking process. It's no different than. I'm sorry to say it, and I ain't trying to sound cruel, but it's almost like training a fucking animal.
It is training an animal. This bitch is an animal.
It's almost like you training an animal when you doing that. You have
It
to have
is.
that mentality. So when you start talking about Dom, you have to have the mentality to where you break that, and that's what pimps do. What pimps will do, their great hole is not necessarily in all that shit they flashing. It's in their mastery of the emotional roller coaster. They take that
Iceberg
bitch
Slim
all the
told
way
you.
up. They take her all the way up to the valley and then drop that bitch. Excuse me, all the way up to the mountaintop and then drop that bitch in the valley. You see what I'm saying? And then after they drop that in the valley, they turn around and they bring her back up to the mountaintop. And then they turn around and they drop her down in the valley. Even when they were correcting her with their goon hand, that had a purpose. Because you got to understand, if a woman is out there selling her body, which she does formally or informally, you know, she feels what I call, at Mac City, me and my brother call whore's remorse. And when they get that feeling of whore's remorse of I'm such a bad person, and they hate any and everything around them. And when a woman is going through whore remorse, you are in danger. Your life is in danger when a woman is in whore remorse because she hate herself and she hate everything around her, including everything associated with that. So now that they got whore's remorse going on, now you're in jeopardy. So that pimp knows he has two things. He can let that whole simmer in that whore's remorse, or he can pull his hand on back and slap that shit out of her, you know, because it's about shaking. It's about having that emotional exchange. It's about that emotional catharsis. In BDSM, when they spank those women, in the world of BDSM, when women are what is the term? Masochists. Women that are masochists, they feel a certain pleasure and release of all of their emotions through the outlet of pain. Well, the pimp does the same thing. Instead of pulling it on back and hitting you on the ass, he pulling you back and slapping you across the face. You see? So all of that emotion, all that shit is pent out, all that shit comes out, you know. And so what's happening is he's taking her on that roller coaster. When he's combing her head, she's down in the valley. He done dropped her down in the valley. He done dropped her down. Then he gonna take her back to the mountaintop. He got to drop her down in the valley. You got to take her back to the mountaintop and drop her down in the valley. So when you're talking about that Dom stuff, it's all about understanding that emotional roller coaster. It's all about understanding that degree of control that's necessary in order to impose your will on this woman.
Okay, hold on a second. Now I'm gonna tell you that Nation of Islam, NOI, them brothers up in there, they ran one of the most legendary Dom games I've seen in the last 50 years. They have run a Dom game on many of them women there, and those women fall in line. You see them walking in line, acting certain kind of ways and all that. They've domed this black female out. Now, of course, as black women, as we always like to say, they definitely agreed to it. So we want to make sure we get that straight because I don't want us over here talking people saying we talking some crazy shit. But
there's a key tenet to that Nation of Islam program. That's why they don't want you on. They don't want you on government assistance. They want you in the hands of that man, so he control you.
That's right. That is exactly correct.
Your fate. So you sink or swim by his dollar, not by anybody
that's exact. They put your hand. You put yourself in his hands, and that's where it is. You ain't on that G. You ain't on that G game. You're not on all that. You are sitting there. You are dealing with this brother specifically, and this is how they roll it. And they've rolled, and like I said, almost a Sharia law type of game. And I was saying that a little bit earlier. You know, that's kind of unfortunately some of that is needed, but I know, you know, in our society the way things are right now, we probably not going to see a lot of that. But you know, if we were grabbing our own land and doing our own thing, some of that,
and that's a good point too, Nagone.
I could see some of that working. Anyway, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother Brand.
That's a good point, Nagone. Our reactions, our mentality, actually is a reaction to feminism, liberalism, and giving women their own reproductive rights. Nobody likes to say this or hear this, and it may be a little bit rough, but when you give the female complete autonomy over her own reproductive organs and her own reproductive choice, what happens is Chicago. What happens is Baltimore.
Yep, that's right.
She destroys nations and communities and generations with her womb. When you give her autonomy over herself. Now, in societies where she does not have autonomies, whether ancient or current societies that don't give her much autonomy, we see a whole different type of society. So what we do, whether it's being pimps, whether it's paying for it, whether you Ibmore, Mix, or whatever. This is a reaction to the liberal female and the damage that she does with nations with her womb.
Facts.
This is the reaction, and this is how we are coping with psychologically the result of a society giving females not only absolute freedom of herself, but all of the freedoms, right? But none of the responsibilities. And that's
Facts.
all the freedoms, but none of the responsibilities.
Facts. Because and nobody's holding him to those responsibilities. No one's holding him to it. And so therefore, why should and you have to understand this? Why should they feel like they should be responsible if nobody's ever held them responsible to it?
Absolutely. They're able to do what they want, when they want, how they want. Why would they want that to ever change?
Absolutely.
MOT trying to jump in, y'all.
MOT, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. The problem with men in this society is that they want the most out of something that they don't understand the nature of. That's the problem. Like, once you understand the nature of the thing that you're trying to get the most out of, it's easier to get. That's the problem here. Most people don't want to come to grips with understanding that you're trying to take the nature of something and turn it into something else that it's never going to be. They have that type of freedom in society. So as long as you don't meet them with the same level of freedom and power, they're not going to be able to respect you or even follow you in any way. That's just the way things are out there, man. And
that's about right.
And what most people don't get is that the moment you let go of this childish ass fantasy, that this thing is going to come into your life and follow your rules, your way, without the government or any other mechanism coming down on them, dude, you're out of your mind. This ain't the Islamic world. We here in America where there's a lot of freedom, but you have to understand that you have to put your freedom above them. And what Black Ram said a little bit earlier about how that woman's life in danger, oh no, fuck that. I would neon brown that bitch in a heartbeat. She would catch all them goddamn bullets before I catch one. And we would sit there and negotiate after that guy get ready to reload. But I'm not.
MOT, look, bro. Let me tell you something that's real. And this was my highest view video I ever did, my R. Kelly video. And I broke it down how R. Kelly was running a major fucking dom game. As soon as R. Kelly hit that door by documentary, that's funny, right? He told those girls, you don't call me R. Kelly, you call me daddy. Put him in a fucking room. Shut the fucking door on them hoes. They had to bang on the door for food. Now, these girls had opportunities to leave. They going on tour with the nigga. They traveling with the guy. All of this kind of stuff. They loved that dung game. One of the girls said she talked back to R. One of the girls said, hold on. One of the girls said she talked back to R. Kelly. No. She looked at another guy. It was something crazy, something minor. She said he cocked back and slapped the shit out of her. And she still stayed. That documentary, guys need to look at that documentary another way. I know people freaked out or whatever. I said, no. R. Kelly running a fucking dom game of ill proportion.
And not only did he dom them chicks, but this is what a lot of people don't want to talk about. He domed their parents as well. He was doming them. I got your girl. A lot of them say, well, you know, I take care of it. Don't worry about it. I got her covered. Now, we know Mama the biggest pimp. We know that. But at the same time, he controlled them too. They rolled with it. A lot of them rolled with it.
Because they starstruck and he got money.
Exactly. And people don't want to talk about that. Folks don't. They want to deal with that. I saw that with Aaliyah. I saw that all of years ago when Aaliyah's parents, they said, okay, we're gonna have to annul the marriage. But ultimately, what happened? They got, they got some royalties to some of his records. They got a little bit of money. They took a payoff. Took a payoff with that shit, man. They should have put that nigga in jail. But they didn't.
And you know the elephant in the room, Nagone. The society is afraid of black male sexual dominance because we can literally fuck the planet. We can literally fuck the planet and make it all black. They're afraid of black male sexual dominance, black male financial dominance, and black male mental dominance. That's scary to hold.
But
There's
that's
also another level here.
That's the black
There's
ram
also
talking
another
right
level
there.
here.
But anyway,
There's
go ahead.
also another level here that we don't discuss, and that is that women are tremendously emotionally masochistic. I think at a very intimate and primal level, women in some sense want to be dom. They want
Absolutely.
to be
That's a fact.
It's their
Fact.
They
nature.
want to be
Fact.
dominated. So what happens is when he did that, you got to think of, if you're in this society like what Black Ram talked about, where they have all kind of control and all kind of freedom, there are times when that freedom becomes debilitating. Because you got so much freedom, you don't know what to do with it. And then when you got a bunch of niggas up under you telling you, oh, how beautiful you are, they're simping you, they're trying to smell your panties, they're trying to get titty residue off your bra. They just, it's disgusting. They're just constantly kissing up to you. And what you do is you take that woman out of the realm of humanity. You done put her in this prison of perfection. You idealizing her, you're romanticizing her. You won't let her be a human being to where she can make mistakes and still be a person. So then when a nigga comes along that she's attracted to, that got status and money, they tell her, look, you call me daddy, bitch, on your knees now. When I hit that door, off with your clothes, piss in this bucket in this dark room. You be over here naked when I come. You see, what you're giving her back is the human experience, as fucked up as it sounds, that she didn't get from all these niggas constantly kissing her ass. There was no checking mechanism. There was nobody to hold her accountable for shit. There was nobody to, just face it. If you let a kid go to Disneyland, what kid's gonna want to go home? Even though he need to go home, he can't stay there forever. So if you got a kid that just in an era where you just giving them everything he want, well, you're going to turn him rotten. You're going to destroy him. It's the same thing with women. If you constantly kissing their ass, if you constantly not putting any boundaries, rules, regulations, and guidelines on them, then they don't like that shit. They hate that shit. They hate that shit. They hate when you just letting them have their way. They hate when you just sitting here rationalizing all their fuckery.
They don't respect it.
So when they come across a motherfucker that's gonna pull it on back and say, call me daddy, and this is what you gonna do, this is what you ain't gonna do. Yeah, that little slap across the face may sting, but that shit is also exhilarating. It's turning them on. It's getting their panties wet. That's why when the police came home.
Where's your empirical evidence?
Oh, get the fuck out of here. When the police came to reclaim her and take her home, that girl said she didn't want to go home. She didn't want to go home. She wanted to stay.
She told him to fuck up out of here. He told him to get the fuck up out of here. That's what he told me.
What did Black Ram say? She's at home. She's at home. Exactly where she at.
That's exactly right.
You need empirical evidence, Tony. It doesn't count. It's a non sequitur.
Man, get the fuck out of here.
It's a non sequitur. Come on, man. But no,
Tony, if she ain't getting that from her beta cuck husband, then she gonna go out in the street and get it.
Absolutely.
And this is why she'll date Dexter, who makes six figures and marry him, but then go and roll out with Pookie and them.
Exactly.
A fact. Thuggo. Little
Thuggo in them.
When I talk about that Dom game,
that's a fact.
No, real talk. When I talk about that Dom game, I mean not in literally BDSM form, man. I mean actually being a Dom. Like when niggas say ARC is a Dom, he's a dominant in every aspect of life. And it's almost like a predatorial instinct. You
have to be that.
Some people have it, and
some people don't.
Some people, I believe some people don't. When
and see Boogie,
what?
And see Boogie, a guy like Allen, okay, that's in him. Okay, not only is in him, right?
Yeah.
But not every man has that kind of energy, and there again, where the problem lies. Like a lot of guys are like, you know what? I don't want to spend so much mental, physical, and emotional energy on trying to dominate this beast who's already a whore. She's a whore anyway. I mean, you can the average female over 30, she's been ran through anyway. They're realizing that, hey man, I can listen to the dating coaches, I can get all of this game, and I don't have anything against dating coaches at all, right? I use them myself, and do a little dating coaching myself. However, a lot of guys say, you know what? All of this energy I have to expend on this female is just not worth it, because it's the same pussy that everybody else's have. Now I got to use all of these techniques and these personalities and these principles for the same dirty, washed up, nasty cooch
Yo, let me tell you
that
about
everybody
that.
else's have.
I'll copy that. I'll copy
Right.
that. That's me, guilty. I got 75.
75. Let me tell you about that.
Because are you
Don't.
really doming her? If she got to make you be all of that, who's your architect? Are you? Is she making you? You making her?
Let me tell you about that energy though, Ram. See, when you really a dom and you put that energy out there, dog, the universe responds to you different. You can't
Oh, yeah.
to another man.
I dominate the women that I deal with. I'm just saying that not every guy has that kind of energy and wants to exude that kind of energy and wants to put that type of energy into a whore. Because here's the thing, like we said earlier, all whores. So a lot of guys don't want to. I mean, think about it. Now, I'm not trying to bust nobody's bubble, man, but is it really a big deal to dominate a whore?
It really isn't.
Let me say this. My thing is this.
Bottom line.
I'm not. I don't want to put all my energy in that. Look, I'm shopping at the South. This is Goodwill, Salvation Army pussy. I'm gonna take it up to the counter and pay that $6.99, and I'm gone. I ain't going through all them head games. What I will do is keep you up off me so you won't get too close to me where you start thinking about some other fuck shit. But for my purpose, the way I see it, look, this is recycled pussy. We are at the Salvation Army and Goodwill of Life. And we're trying to shuffle through this Salvation Army and this Goodwill of Life to come up on us some good pussy at a decent price. So give me what I want at a decent price, and then just go on back home. When you're done, go back to him. Right. Let him dom you. If he want to dom you, if you like that, go on back home, piss in the pot, get pimp slapped, whatever gets you off, whatever you need to do, you go on back over there. But for now, I want this. But you go on back over there. You piss in the pot. Now, when you make your escape, when you break, you call me. But until then, east is east, west is west, and never the motherfucking twain shall meet. I'm good. I don't need to go through all of that.
And Tony, isn't that
75?
And Tony, what you're saying, literally, like I've said before, is the most efficient way to deal with things, right? Is that the most efficient way?
I've said that. People have said, "Oh, you cranky, you buying pussy." You see, you got all that simp talk going on. Most motherfuckers say they'll tell
most people got their life caught up into the long division of obtaining this shit, and that's their problem, not everybody else.
They don't see it. I look at things in a very practical fashion. I understand how that goes, And if women, a lot of women out here are very practical. There's some very practical women out here. You follow what I'm saying? Very practical. Yeah, they'll go with the practical. They'll go with the practicality too.
Hey, but see. Let me ask you this question. You said that Alan Roger Curry is a dom, and you're right. He is a dom.
No, he is a dom. Yeah,
he's a dom. I'm not saying he isn't. I'm not questioning that.
I've seen him in
No. I'm not questioning that. I'm not questioning his pedigree. But what I'm saying is this. Okay, he's a dom through and through. He controls these women, but he's also polyamorous. Okay, so if he's polyamorous and he's dating multiple women, that woman only gonna get so much of his motherfucking time. You understand? Yeah. So there's only so much time that's budgeted for her to fuck with him, and that's the way he has it. Yeah. So if he's budgeted 2 or 3 hours to fuck with her, what happens the other 21? What happens the other 19? Whatever the case may be. Yeah. So even though he's controlling him, that time is limited. That time is finite. It's based upon whether he even feel like wanting to be bothered with her. That's why when he responded to our podcast that we did on Mac City, he said he told this woman to go fuck her husband. Why? Because he wasn't finna fuck her.
Right.
He wasn't finna have shit to do with her.
The devil horns came up. Let me say this though, Tony. Now I'm at the point where the actual pussy is secondary. I get more gratification from the actual conquest. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying.
That's how that goes with so many of them.
So I love to go hunt. I love that feeling. I love that. You know what I mean?
That's the thrill. That's a big part of it. The thrill.
I just wanted to bust a nut. I'll just do the 75. You know what I mean?
Well,
but go ahead.
The thing is, that conquest is the source. That's why you got a lot of anger, a lot in many sectors of the manosphere, because you have dudes that haven't experienced that conquest.
They haven't.
They haven't experienced that exhilarating thing of getting what they want and then getting that person to submit to their will.
They haven't.
So
That's
what
why
has
they
happened
mad.
is, so what you have is you have a bunch of men that are emasculated because they haven't crossed that threshold of that rite of passage. They don't have the thrill of that conquest. They don't have that. So you say you like to hunt. That's fine. You like to hunt. I like to hunt. But what I'm saying is this: I'm gonna go out there and fish. I'm gonna peel the skin off the fish, chop the head off, put it. I'm gonna fry it. I'm gonna eat it, and then I'm gonna throw away the bones and the plate and all that shit. It's up out of here. So you have to understand, if you're talking about conquest, it depends on what level of conquest you're dealing with. For some men, conquest is just fucking them. For other men, conquest is actually controlling them and, as you would say, doming them or having them to do what you want to do. And sometimes that shit work, sometimes it don't. You know, it may work for guys like ARC, Sasha Day Game, and the rest of them. That may be their thing. And, you know, but for me, conquest for me, look, I want you to come in here, do what I tell you to do. Let me bust this nut, and then after I'm done, I'm not closing my eyes with you here because I don't know you. Get up out of here. No cell phone usage in my house. Cut your motherfucking cell phone off. Come on here, do what you're supposed to do, your job, and then out the door you go. Bang. And I'm happy. Bang. I'm happy.
Your rules.
That's my conquest. That's my conquest. I have conquered what I wanted. I needed that load. My balls was heavy. I needed relief. I got my relief. You can go now. Now back to our regularly scheduled program.
I love the actual hunt, Tony. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the nut that come with it. But look, man, like after so many nuts, I'm like, nah, man. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes I get that urge though, that primal urge to get out here, mac a hoe on some mode one shit. You know what I'm saying? Mac a hoe. See.
Hey, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Now, I feel the exact same way. Now, you know, I talk about, you know, not getting married and, you know, becoming a sucker for a female, but yeah, I like to get out there in the field and you know, shoot my game, shoot my shot too. But what I realize, I'm not saying this is true for you, C-Boogie, but what I realize is that what it all comes down to is ego. And once you kind of lose the ego, it's like what's left. It does feel good. It does feel good to, you know, shout out to Kevin Samuels, throwing some nice gear, get your mouthpiece crispy, go out and shoot your shot at a fine dame, get her number. A week later, you at the crib with her. And you getting down. That feels good. So what the revelation that I got is that it's not valuable because this slut did the same thing with a lesser nigga 2 weeks before me.
Oh, that's the fucking
with a lesser nigga.
A thuggo hit that fucking
exactly a lesser nigga. So guess what they did for me?
A funky little fucking nigga.
Exactly. So now the ego is gone.
Come on.
See Boogie. See Boogie.
This is what I'm talking about up in here.
See Boogie. My drive in terms of conquest, I'm a person that is on an endless search for power. That's me. I'm searching for power. I'm searching for power. That's where my focus is. I'm trying to find a way to empower myself. That's what I'm interested in, because with power will come pussy, but you know what I'm doing is temporary casualty. I'm not as concentrated on conquering this woman as I am concentrated on conquering the ecosystem that I have to deal with. I have to figure out a way. I'm 47 years old, dog. I got to figure out retirement. I got to make sure that if I leave this motherfucker, I can be buried. I got to take care of all of that business. And in order to take care of that business, that means I must exercise the modicum of power and control over the circumstances that control my life. So I ain't worried about that, dog. I mean, breaking this woman down is not really important to me, because at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is satisfy my ego. I satisfied my ego, and what did I get for it? I ain't got nothing for it other than the fact that I can control this bitch. And by the time she done laid up on me, so now she constantly begging me. I done broke her down, so now she looking at me. She done got used to me. She constantly wants shit. She constantly needs shit. I done got drug off into the fuckery with her family and all the shit that's involved with them. I done got drug off into all of her head issues, and that's taking away from me being able to provide for myself.
Yeah,
So I have to put that
and
distance
Tony,
between me and her. I have to put,
Yeah,
look,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
the
yeah.
ditch. Don't cross this line. I deal with you when I'm ready to deal with you. But other than that, you got to go. You got your
and,
75. It was an even exchange. Now be out.
and you know what else
Yeah,
too, Tony?
definitely.
To add to that real quick, Tony. Once you've dominated the woman, it's like, okay, what's next? Let me give you an example, right? It's a pimp. I think his name is Rosebud. I hate to bring him in the conversation because I don't know the man like that, but he said on a podcast that his bottom chick, who he married, he married his bottom chick. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he said that he said that all his hoes left. The one that stays with him, that's the one he gonna marry. The last time I heard a podcast from, which was a while ago, he said that bottom chick, which was his wife, and he's older now, 60s, 70s, and I'm assuming she is too. She's gone.
Yeah, he divorced her. They divorced.
Exactly. So here go the point, right? I don't care how rich you is, Jeff Bezos. I don't care how fly you is, Puffy. I don't care how tall you are, Tim Duncan. I don't care how cold you are, Kobe Bryant. I don't care how much of a pimp you are, Rosebud. Your hoe gonna leave you. So, so ain't no such thing as true domination.
And see, that's the piece. You dominate for a while, you have some fun with it, but at the end of the day, when I was told by another hoe, bitches is hoes, that's when I'm starting. And a woman says, "Yeah, well, we're hoes. This is how we are." That means, however you've laid out your game and domed out, some other thuggo, some other little sucker lady nigga has come in there and domed her out as well. He banged it out, maybe even for less. And that's what it is. That's what I'm saying. Put any one of these hoes on a pedestal, run on any one of these hoes like they shit is roll like that. It's crazy. That's what I'm saying. It's madness. So your overall view, here's my 75 and roll. That's about where you are in this.
Here's
about
my
where
thing.
you are in this.
As a chess player, there's always an end game. There's always an end game. Nothing continues forever. There's always an end game.
That's right.
After I've made it to the end game, if I got an extra pawn, I'm gonna queen. But if I don't have an extra pawn, I done lost all my pieces, and he got 2 rooks. I'm about to get checkmated. You see, so that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the end game. ARC's dominance is effective because he's spreading his game across multiple women. You see what I'm saying? Because that's a long-term strategy for someone that's polyamorous. But he ain't putting too much in with one woman. That's why he's polyamorous.
No, he's not.
Let me say this, Tony. See, I understand what you're saying. Now, you give up that 75 to bust that nut. Now, what I'm saying is, at this point, I would rather have the hunt than the nut. That's where I'm at. Get from that.
See, if that's what you want to do, Doc, you going on out there and hunt. My old ass gonna be in my apartment trying to get it. I'm gonna be in my apartment trying to get my nut off. God bless. If that's what you want to do, brother, if that works for you, go on out there. Take your rifle, get your scope, put on your Carhartt khakis, put your cap on, get your duck whistle, quack quack, go on out there and call them, do the bird calls, do all that shit. If that's what you want to do, but me, my old ass, no. Here's what I'm gonna put here under this box, the old-fashioned trap, the box with the stick on it. I got 75 under that box. You reach your hand in there and get that 75. I pull that twig away. I got you. That's it.
Yeah, that's
it's not an either or situation. You can hunt also. It's just that at the end of the night you ain't you gonna have a score because you got 75.
He likes breaking them down. He likes the competition. He likes the control, the wrestling for ultimate power. He want to break the bitch down to a molecule. I get that, brother. And if that's yours, if you want to conquer, some of us can be Alexander the Great. Some of us can be Genghis Khan. Some of us can be Napoleon. You see what I'm saying? But I'm old, dog. I'm 47, dog. I'm old.
Efficiency.
I'm not finna lead no major brigade. Shit. I'm gonna enjoy the general's privilege, and goddamn it, I'm leading from the rear. If you want to go out there, you go ahead and do that. I understand what you're saying. You like the process of breaking them down and decoding that shit and letting them know they can't get no game over. You just beating these bitches down. You like George Foreman. You beating them down with an overhand. I'm just saying, look, I'm laying against the ropes. I'm laying against the ropes. Bitch, this the wrong place to get tired.
Hey, Boogie. And as long as you're not trying to break down no old chicks, man, don't be trying to break down no 35, 40-year-old, bro. Get you something like 21, 22, 23, man.
Yeah.
Down no old, bro. Can't teach no old dog no new tricks, man.
No. I say that. I just want to say this. I'm over 50, so yeah, I know y'all. I'm over 50, so I've seen this shit come and go so much. That's why I sit back. I was listening to a lot of this and laughing because it's funny because I've seen this shit swing in so many different directions. I have a quick little story here. It's gonna take me 2 seconds. This is some funny shit that I just see about these hoes. That's why I say I can't really just put a lot of energy hardly into these hoes because I know what's going on with them. I was reading a story about. Do y'all remember this rock group in the 70s called ABBA? Do y'all remember that?
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Australia. Okay, these supposed to be one of these women was supposed to be like a these are supposed to be princesses and all this kind of shit. Anyway, the group kind of was going through its reform. It was kind of doing this thing. It wasn't as high as it was, but it was still very popular around the world. Some fucking fan, some crazy little fan nigga, was running behind one of these bitches. And was like calling her all the time, and she got his number, and she found out where she lived. And this dude kept like just jumping all over this chick until what she was saying, this guy was harassing her and all that. Until one day, he knocked on the door again, and this babe was just she was in a bad way. Something emotionally, she was down, and she let this nigga in. And here's a nigga who had no money. Here's a guy who had no status or no nothing. Just caught her on an off day. And she gave in because he was so persistent. And the next thing you know, this whack motherfucker was banging this fucking superstar fucking broad. He banging her. And then he started getting strung out in the pussy. She was like, oh man, hold on a second, man. I gotta get this guy out of here after a while, man, because he's going crazy over my ass. And then it got to a point to where she had to ultimately like cut him loose, and he went through all kind of machinations. But what I'm saying was, here all these other super high end Negroes she cutting and she peeling them back. But here's some little de facto thuggo nigga running behind this babe, knocks on her door one day, she lets him in and he fucks her. And he ain't paid nothing. And I'm just sitting here saying,
that's part of the game.
This shit goes on all this shit goes on all the time. And that goes. Hold on.
You're not going to control a female biological.
It goes back to Rand's point. Listen, man, this been y'all doing all this, but ultimately some other little nigga will come in here and pay nothing to get this motherfucker. So it's just you gotta look at this shit for what it is.
I understand. I'm saying. I'm not agreeing, but what I'm saying is all of that. I don't necessarily concern myself with what happened yesterday with the hoe.
Yeah,
I mean, because it could be all kind of. She could have had a gangbang for all we know. But what like what I'm saying is this, man. In regards to just pure sex in the end game, I'm like, look, man. As far as just busting, humping on the bitch and busting a nut, I'm like, like that's fine, but I get more gratification, like Tony said, macking a hoe, breaking her down, have her submit her body to me, on my terms, and then we kind of go from there. That's just where I'm at. I like the whole process, not all the time, but I have.
I hear.
Yeah, but see, Boogie. It's not that we disagree with you. We're not saying you wrong. It's just that we talking. I mean, that's just what's great about YouTube. We got brothers on here, man. We span several decades in age. I'm like probably the second oldest person on this panel. It's like when we're younger, it's just like a span of stages men go through. When we're younger, that confirmation from women, man, is everything. And thank God that kind of wanes as you get a little older. You just don't give a fuck as much as you did about their confirmation of you as you get older.
And these bitches these bitches, they hoes. You can fuck them and any bitch out here. If you just,
my thing is this:
if you just get in front of them long enough.
Enjoy the hunt. Enjoy yourself, brother. If that's what you like doing, and if that's what does it for you, then you get out there and you get your spear. You take your spear and your shield, and you get out there and spear you one of them. If that's what you like doing, that's what you do. But I'm gonna be at the house.
And I like to add, spearing a chick, getting a chick is pretty easy. let's just keep it real for a minute. We all are men here and we have a lot of experiences. A lot of times you don't even need game to fuck a female, man. It's just about catching the bitch at the right time.
That's
you
what
catch
I'm
her at the
talking
right
about.
time,
That's
you
it.
can nail her. You don't even
That's-
need a lot of game. You ever meet a woman and then the whole process of getting her in the bed is just easy. You don't have to use no game. You don't have to do no impressing. Just easy to get over to the crib. Just easy. And some chicks you got to use a little finesse. Some chicks you might have to dress up. Some chicks you might have to take out. But a lot of times you don't even need no game, man. Because why? It goes back to what we said earlier. They're all whores. You catch your here going to beat any game. What to beat any game is catching a chick at the right time. And all you gotta do is open your goddamn mouth.
The problem is this. The problem.
That's the bottom
see,
line.
you probably gonna get it for free, C Boogie, but I want the flat rate. So you get it for free, but I'm gonna get it for the flat rate. We two different dudes. So the hunt enables you to get it for free. I want the flat rate. My flat rate is 75. That's my flat rate.
Hey, Tony. No,
I don't have the luxury. I don't have the luxury of the conquest. I don't. I'm just gonna tell you flat out. I don't have that luxury. I don't have the luxury of doing what I don't have that. I have to get the flat rate. I'm one of these niggas that have to get it for a flat rate. So I'm getting it for a flat rate, and my rate is 75.
Hey Tony. Since you're on the panel, man, I listened to some of your podcasts, Mac City Lemons, and once you talked about the flat rate, the pay, on how you avoid a lot of trouble. If you don't mind, C Boogie, Tony, could you just list a few points of those things and how you avoid so much trouble by just the flat rate? I just thought that was excellent, man.
Well, I think because the thing is everybody, again, this is not women that you picking up out the street. We're not just getting in a car and going down here and saying, I'll give you set. That's not what it is. There's an informal relationship here. There's some type of relationship here through we know these bras because their mouth is always in G flat, gimme, gimme, gimme. So when you come into me and you say, well, how do I get out of all that trouble? I set ground rules right away. I tell them, look, I'm not calling you. You never have to worry about an inconvenient moment with you and your nigga, with me popping up on your cell phone or me popping up at your house. One, whatever go on in my house, stay in my house. If word get back to me in the street, you fucking done. And see, the thing is, they become so dependent on that little 75 or whatever. And it don't necessarily have to be money either. A lot of women come to me for counsel. A lot of women come to me because either they family members or their brothers or sisters are lost in the system. So I provide more services other than that 75. So they can come to me, and that's the difference between them going to jail and them staying on the street. So when you in that role where you a counselor and you everything, you got a little bit like what my man said earlier, that sword of Damocles hanging over their head. So when they come to me, they know that I can extract consequences. They know if they touch me, it's going to be some type of blowback. You can't touch me and think that nothing's going to happen to you because I'm going to bring the war to you if anything bad happens to me. So let me be the nice guy. Leave me limited. Let me give you this 75 and let me be your friend. Because if you don't let me be your friend, you don't want me as your enemy because I'm a vengeful motherfucker. You understand? I'm a vengeful motherfucker. So when they deal with me, I tell them what the rules are up front. I will not be calling you. I will not be texting you. If we fuck around, you come to my spot. Ain't no hotel. You come to my spot. You shut the cell phone off. I don't want to meet your family. Nope. I don't want to sit down and talk to your mama. No, I do not want to meet your brother. Nobody needs to know who I am. And what happens is they like that because, one, women love when you are able to keep a secret. They love when you're able to keep their dirt. And so because of that relationship, they tell you a lot of shit that they wouldn't ordinarily tell other people. Well, you give me that kind of leverage and tell me all your dirt and all your sins, you'd be a fool to do anything to me. When I know how to dismantle you, you would be a fool to cross me if I can literally draw and quarter you. Because what has happened is because I stayed in my lane, I kept my place, and I wasn't trying to compete with your nigga. Now I'm in a space where even he isn't at. I'm at a space you telling me shit that you ain't even telling him. You understand? So it becomes a situation. It's just the process of letting them know what you will accept and what you won't accept, and keeping a healthy distance, and knowing what kind of woman. Contrary to popular opinion, you can't trick with every woman. Contrary to popular opinion, you cannot trick with every woman. You just can't do it.
Anyway, Black Man, what you got to say to that, man?
I find what Tony is saying is extremely efficient and also very true. Here's the thing: you can't trick with every woman, true enough. But here's the thing: we have to accept and understand the mating strategy of the female. Your average female is looking for more than one man. Let's get that out of the way, gentlemen. I'm sorry to tell you, your average female is looking for more than one man. She's looking for a guy like Tony Maceo just described. She's looking for that. She wants that friend, that confidant, and that guy's gonna give her a little cash. That confidant, somebody she can lean on when she needs a little something, somebody she can talk to, and somebody she can depend on. She's looking for that. That's just one type of guy. And she's looking for thuggo, and she's looking for that beta male provider. We have to stop thinking that she only wants just one guy. No, she wants to utilize men in her life. She sees all men as a form of utility. Some just a sexual utility, some is a payment utility. Whatever it is utility. So she's looking for men that encompass those things that she wants. She wants the guy like Tony Maceo is offering himself to be. She wants a guy like Thuggo is offering himself to be. And she's actually looking for that ideal guy who's going to save her from all of that need be. That ideal man who worked hard his whole life to become something. Now he gets to get the slut that he couldn't get in high school.
That's a fact.
That's the female.
That's a fact.
Yeah, but they mess up because that call comes too damn late. If women would just switch it up and maybe wind that timeline back about 5 years sooner, I think instead of calling the guy that wanted to fuck her in high school, waiting to call him when she crossed 30, if she would just call him around 26, it might work. It's just they call too late. That call comes too late.
Yo, well, here's the thing these days, man, because the mating scene's so fucked up, bro. You got a lot of times, man, 4, 5, 6 women on one dude or whatever. So a lot of these betas, well, let me throw that word out. A lot of these, I'm kind of like the Ron Wills word. A lot of these non-select guys, whatever you want to call the guys that's getting starved out, that just can't get any, like the damn near incel guys, they get starved out so much. By the time this broad is in, 35, 36, and she been alpha widowed and took down through that, she show up with her kids and her bags. He's so happy that he get a constant stream of pussy. He not even gonna question that shit because he's been starved out of society. This is why you got this incel thing so relevant right now. And I've been kind of going through them channels, man. These guys are fucked up. I was binge watching these incel guys, and it's like, yo. There was a time where these guys probably could have got some pussy, but nowadays, these hoes are happy to stand in line for one dude. Now, if you can catch the bitch slipping, hit her with 75, you can do good. But a lot of times, man, this shit is wicked, man. And a lot of these guys are just happy.
I think that incel thing is a whole separate category. I think we might be talking about a mental, illness thing that might need some professional help. I think that we do a disservice to the other men's rights issues and even MGTOW to put the incel issue in at that, because it's a circular argument or circular discussion when you talk to them. It's like, man, look, there's younger women are fascinated by older guys. You can even be a little nerdy, but a younger girl, especially when you in your 20s, you got an edge. Okay, older women, they get freaky when they 30. They like breaking young guys in their young 20s. I'm like, you come up with all these solutions, and the incel got an excuse for every proposal you offer. He likes it. He's in a sick space, and he likes it.
So you think it's more mental than?
Yeah, I do.
Definitely.
Okay, I got you. Hey, Pharaoh, what up, dog?
What's good with it, man?
Ain't nothing. Welcome. What's on your mind, bro?
Man, nothing much. Just trying to enjoy this Super Bowl weekend. It's down here in Atlanta, and I live down here, and I'm actually attending the game, so you know who I'm repping. But yeah, man. As you know, I've been following. Oh, what's up, OG Tony? Over there, spitting that fire. Is Tony Maceo still on?
Yeah, he's still there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, man. This is a fire ass topic, and everything that y'all said, you hit it on the head. And also, when you this is something that BGS and Cerulean Gray has said numerous of times. when environment changes, people change, especially women. So when you have a society and an environment where you create, where you pretty much breed narcissists, which is in women, and when you have these entitlement programs and everything else, because pretty much everything is being incentivized. You incentivize people's behavior, and what does that do? That plays a bit. It plays a big role, and so that's why and simps, simp ass niggas, they play a role in this too, because like I said, you incentivize their behavior, and you women don't know how to come correct, and you got to check their ass. But see, that's also with the law of the land, and that's why I said with the environment. And I don't understand how niggas can complain about pussy, man. Women lost their mind because of this government shutdown. I'm like, you sitting over here, you got them on posts on Facebook talking about oh, I can't pay my bills next month, I need help. I'm like, man, so much free pussy, so much cheap bargain basement pussy out here. It don't make no sense. That's why I say I can agree with Tony. Hit him with that 75 or probably, man, my cheap ass, I say I hit him with that 40.
Yeah. Because the price of pussy is going down. It actually is going down. It's getting cheaper.
The thing, yeah, and then logically, it's more. And if you want to be logic about it, it's more than them than us. It's like, I think it's like they say it's like 5 more million women than there are black men. So and that's total 2 million. 2 million more, but you might as well consider it 5 because you got to factor in the dudes that are incarcerated. They ain't gonna be out, or they going in and out of jail. You got to factor in homosexuals. And then you got to factor in some of these niggas that's monks, but that's probably 1%. But once you
also the guys that's married too.
Married, yeah, exactly. You got to factor in those guys. That literally cuts that number into half, bro. That's like it down here in Atlanta. When I did that was
polygamy, bro. That's why you still got 4 or 5 hoes to one nigga sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why I said it right now is the best time. If it hadn't been a time to be a player or get your rocks off, man, this day and time is the best time, bro. It is the best time. So like, and that's why it kills me, when women, they act as if they have all day, like they have a whole lifetime ahead of them to do the bullshit that they do. And with this red pill knowledge, all I do is laugh and I'll be like, "Ho, to be honest with you, you got until 30. That's all I say. You got until 30.
I say 25, 26.
25. Well, yeah, logically speaking, because the reproduction and everything. But yeah, I give them to their 30. And let's not say over here they talk about Angela Bassett or Nia Long, the ones who done kept their body in shape. Because let's be honest, a lot of the women really ain't going hard in the gym like that, and the gong can tell you that. So I'm like, y'all can keep that bullshit. I'm like, a lot of y'all 30%, 50% body fat, overweight. I mean, you just got fat in the right places. Shit, that's about it. But I'm like man, and black men gonna be winning out here, man. It's our time. And BGS just did a video where somebody did an article on the black manosphere. Y'all probably seen the video.
Yeah.
Bruh, man, they finna. That's gonna bring in Angry Man. It's gonna bring O'Shea, Obsidian, and pretty much the Gone and C Boogie. Y'all right under Obsidian, so that's gonna expose y'all. Man, they finna put this game out here, and I think that's gonna be the biggest mistake that they have ever done, because that shit finna spread like wildfire. It's finna spread like.
It's gonna get live.
They're gonna do it all out. They're gonna try to do an all-out assault on the black manosphere.
They will, and this is what they're gonna do. And I can already see it coming. They're gonna sit over here and try to put that hate speech saying that they do the women bashing. Of course, we've heard that numerous of times. Then they're gonna say that we openly misandry, which we're not. And then they're going to say that, with the Ilk Moors, they support MGTOW, so they must be with the alt-right and all them. I don't know how that's possible, but they're going to throw that shit in there. And then they're going to try to link you with the BIE, the Black Identity Extremists. You know they're gonna try to do that shit.
Absolutely.
Or
So
they're gonna paint the
Yeah.
MGTOW group
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
latent
Yeah.
homosexuals.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So we already see it coming. But I'm like, I said, man, whatever it needs to be done, because to be honest, I just want to free the brothers out here, man. We've been held back too long. Our voice has been silent for too long. And to be honest with me, it's like majority of the little boys is in homes that's 70+% with single mothers. So that's the future, and the kids, um you gotta try to
Talk to.
you got to mentor. You got to try to mentor, and that's why Cerulean did that whole thing with him and Charles Faulkner. The Faulkner, the
The Great
Faulkner
Faulkner plan.
Gravers, the Great Faulkner initiative. But you got people sitting over here want to try to like dissuade or try to dismantle or try to debunk the process, and I'll be like, man, there's no other option or process other than that. It's already an infrastructure out there. It's not, we can't really build the new one. So I mean, but women don't like to give up power. They don't like to give up control. It's not in their nature. So you got to take that shit from them.
Yeah,
That's
fact.
all I say.
No,
hmm
fact, man.
So them boys, that's their power. That's why they emasculate them so much. Because to be honest and be truthful, they know if they give them to the father, that woman has no control over that boy.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a big part of what you see. I'm even looking at this even here in the manosphere with respect to the fucking jackals.
hmm
I'm not gonna mention who the jackals are. I don't feel like mentioning them, but the jackals is out there trying to invade your space, and at the end of the day, trying to grab as many minds as they can to fight on their
hmm
behalf for them. As you see their game looking more and more ridiculous every day. But yet
hmm
they trying to grab as many drones as they can to get out there and side with them. It's that's going on right here. I
Yeah.
saw Brother O'Shea, have his Sunday Rumble, and I saw somebody else come in there and try to snatch a Sunday Rumble from him. And I said, look at
Really?
that. Well, yeah,
Wow.
he do a Sunday Rumble, but then somebody else coming in trying to jump into my. They got a Sunday Rumble going on and all that kind of business.
mm
And we've seen, and some of it has been successful, and some other Negroes have signed on with it. So I'm sitting there saying
hmm
this is very interesting. So brothers, you gotta stay focused. There's no question about it. All of what you
Definitely.
mentioned, as far as them coming after the manosphere, black identity extremists, and tying all that together, that's definitely coming down the pike. That's definitely
Most
coming down the
definitely.
pike. Yeah, that's definitely coming down the pike. And that's why I say brothers got to be on top of our game. We got to be thinking properly out here.
hmm
Keep our minds right.
And I'll say this other public service announcement. The next time you talking and this woman complaining how she don't have no money for the rent, and you tell her, wait a minute, what about, these dudes you keep telling me about that you fucking? Why ain't they paying?
Go to them.
And then you go to them, okay? Then they say, well, look, you fucking wrong. That's when you got to remind her what her sex is for. If any woman that's not using her beauty and her booty to provide for her welfare, she fucking wrong.
75.
And you tell her that if it was you, if you was in the room, had that problem.
Yeah.
That kind of support comes at a price. I got 75.
Yeah,
I got 75.
MOT.
Some closing statements, man. We're gonna go down the line, dude. We're gonna get up out of here. Young C Boogie got to go bang out at the gym. But what's up, Ram? Talk to me, dog.
Yeah. Black Ram.
Oh yeah. Hey, see, Bugs, thanks for having me on, man. And hey, straight ahead, get your mind right, get your money right, get your body right. Sorry to go.
Black, go ahead, man. Close out, brother. Close it out, man. Close it out.
But yeah, that's about all I got to say, man. We just got to beware the succubus out here, man, and be wise to all her, her tricks in the con game, and be wise and value ourselves, man.
Damn.
All right, yo, Ram, you the OG, man. I gotta salute you, bro, for even blessing me, man. I'm humbled. Spent a little time with the Boogie, man. You know, man, you're welcome anytime, man. Appreciate it.
that, man.
Yo, man, you've been
Appreciate
kind of
you.
quiet lately too. Hold on, Ram. You know, these YouTube streets been kind of hot, man. You've been kind of quiet, dog.
Yeah, you know, I be a little busy here and there, man. I just try to drop a video once a week. I haven't done a live stream in a minute. But hopefully I'll be able to get back to that. I haven't just had the energy. I hate to go on without having like some fire, you know, so I've been kind of just low key and chill, man. So I just do my little one video a week. But hopefully soon, most high willing, man, I'll be back to, you know, stomping the YouTube streets myself and do some live streams and get some guys like you and the Gone, and everybody else, MOT and everybody on the panel, man.
Yeah, Black Ram, man. I tell you, you've been out here a minute, man. A lot of cats, you've been out here a minute. I'm not gonna lie. But before we break, one of the most devastating videos I ever saw you had, you talked about, definition of this succubus. You had a picture of what was it? What was it? It was like an X-ray of a person, and then an X-ray of a woman, and then you had like a wig on it. You remember that video I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, it's called the energy vampirism of the
horrifying looking picture.
Yeah.
Boy, that shit was right on the money.
Oh yeah.
And that was right on the money. I said, "This is Dr. Van Helsing, man. This motherfucker."
Yep, that's female nature, man. She's coming to get your energy. Female nature.
Yeah. There's no question about it. Great stuff. That was awesome.
Appreciate that, Nagone. Hey, and salute to you too, C Boogie, man. You out here doing your thing, man. I see your channel is blowing up.
Yeah.
You doing your thing, man, and you one of those great voices out here, man. And I see MOT is starting to do live streams and videos too. Oh man, Tony Maceo burning the streams up and everything, man. Everybody doing their thing. Hey, Dollar Will, when you got a channel or what, man?
Yeah. Thanks for the pitch, man. I'll knock it out the park. You pitched it to me. I got a channel. My name is Dollar Will. That's Will with one L. I talk stocks. I don't deal with, nothing but the money. I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to be the one in the black manosphere to help the brothers understand some fundamentals about how to trade stocks. I use technical analysis. I also hang out over on the Black Brain Trust. We talk Friday nights. We deal with economics. We deal with space and technology on Monday.
Geopolitics.
Yep, geopolitics on Wednesday. Saturdays we deal with IT. So we just trying to, the same brothers you see over here talking about women and stuff. We started the Black Brain Trust.
I'm subscribed to the Black Brain Trust. Definitely sub.
Yeah, we want to show the diversity of the brothers that we got we 360 degrees. Okay, we got other skills, and we wanted a place for us to be able to know each other in different ways.
Yes, sir. And man, let me say this real quick too, man. I am proud to how this manosphere has grown. I've been listening to the manosphere for above 10 years, but I've been a content creator for about almost 7. And man, this place has grown by leaps and bounds. Listen, I'm the guy who was told by some European MGTOWs that this shit would never work. And we'd be back at their door crawling and begging and looking at them. And they have all been proven wrong, and this thing is grown. Man, you got people supporting. You got people supporting people on Patreon and super chats and donations, and guys popping up channels left and right. So I am extremely thankful and proud to be a part of this. Extremely thankful and proud to see how the manosphere has grown, and man, and to see you brothers out here just shining, doing y'all thing. I'm humbled and thankful to be a part of it, man. And again, thank you, C Boogie, for actually having me on your panel, man. Because this, you guys are talented, brilliant, and this is fire, man. And again, shout out to Tony Maceo, man, because he was just bursting pipe, motherfucker.
Hey, and Black Ram, you have been a monster of the manosphere, brother.
Appreciate that,
Nagone. A straight monster up in here, man.
And it's always a pleasure to hear you, Nagone, man. You can always come in with that fire yourself, brother. That unbeatable logic right there, boy.
well, thanks, man. But brother, I swear for God, you getting it done. So anyway, man, great to see you, man. Great.
Yo, MOT, you got something to say to the people, man? Y'all subscribe to Man of Tomorrow's channel as well. Man of Tomorrow. He's going live every night at about 10:30, man. So y'all check him out. But you can go ahead, MOT.
Yeah, tonight's topic is gonna be don't run, stay and build in their face.
That's tight.
Motivated by a little pep talk earlier with C Boogie, but it's just that a lot of people think that they're going to have these wildfire plans of when they leave the country and they go to another place where they don't speak the language, they know anything about the culture, and they have less protection for them than they have in the society. And they think that once they get them a woman who obeys them and kind of follow their rules, that all of a sudden they're going to turn into this Bill Gates kind of person. I'm like, who told you that? Where have you seen that even practiced before? And it's just that people need to understand that this is the best place for you to be able to be economically free if it's ever going to happen. So you need to stay and build. And once you do build it, you don't turn around and try to reach back and bring up those people who don't respect you. That's the wrong thing that you do. So that's what I'm going to be talking about
Facts.
tonight about 30
Facts.
on my Man Talk channel. Thanks everybody for coming out, and thanks to Steve Boogie for having me on, man. Y'all have a really nice day.
Hey, Tony, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, man. You want
I'm
to
here.
bless us with some parting game, bruh?
Well, look, man. I'm all gamed out, man. Thank you for having me, and shout out to MOT with that rosebud pimp hat he's sporting.
That's his buddy.
Uh,
Right?
Yeah, OG Tony, I
anyway,
feel some type of way.
if you if you want to find me, my blog. I haven't posted much YouTube stuff, but you can catch me on my blog at powerandstrategy.com. Please go there and subscribe to my website to get my articles, and go to YouTube. Excuse me, go to the Negro Manosphere and catch my articles on Tuesday. And other than that, I got 75.
You're not going. You want
You
to
go
holler?
ahead.
Well,
Was
yeah, man. No,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pharaoh. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, my closing thoughts, man. Man, this was a great panel, and all I can just keep saying, man, is black man, one step at a time, man. We gonna get theirs. We gonna get ours, man. It's like I keep saying, man. When it comes to dealing with these broads, and it's like what Tony Maceo and Matt City Limits, and I have to tell people this: the longer you deal with a broad, that pendulum swings the other way. You going in your pocket one way or the other. So for all you game tied niggas that talking about a Criff's mouthpiece is gonna keep you in the game, and it may work for you in the short term, 1, 2, 3 months or 6 months, but ain't happening in the long run. It's best to mitigate your damages and tell them that you got 40 or 75. I say 40 shit. I'm a cheap motherfucker. but yeah, man. Black man, keep building. Get your resource game up. Hit that gym, man, and explore your options, man. This matriarchal system is not for us. We gonna tear this shit down, man.
All
And that's all.
right.
Yep.
All right. I'll close out and say, yeah, man, brothers was dead on this fire stream once again. See Boogie dropping it down. See, you can get these hands, Boogie dropping it like it's hot. I'm loving what's going down. MOT, Black Ram, Maceo, Black. Who else we have up in here, man? Damn,
girl.
who else we have up in here? Dollar Will, MOT, man. This. Man, dude's killing it. So once again, great stream. I think a lot of good info was dropped as usual. What I really do hope our brothers who out there listening are listening to cats who have got a little game, got some experience, and are taking this in. Don't want anyone, especially these young brothers, to make any of the mistakes that older brothers have made, and are giving you game on that. You don't have to be burned to learn. Learn from those who have come before you. And for those who have been burnt and whatever, hopefully some good knowledge is being dropped, which which puts you back on game, and make sure that you don't make those mistakes again, and move forward and continue to build from there. At the end of the day, you the prize, you the juice. All right, it's not them. You will really see that. You will find. I'm gonna say this, and I know folks are not gonna like some of this. Most of these women are beneath you. I hate to tell you that, but they are. All right, most of them is hoes out here running around. Most of you guys waste your time with them. 75, 40, 75, drop that on them and keep it moving. And that's it. Take care of yourself. Get your mind right, money right, body right, overhead low, savings high. Get that jackal / succubus far behind.
keep it moving, eyes straight ahead. That's it. Sorry, that's where I'm at in this. All right.
Yeah, man. I want to thank everybody for showing up, man. Fire panel, man. For Friday, man. We talked about, some Black community issues at first, man. The history, man. We ran down the crack era, man. Talked about a lot of different things, man. Talked about this Negro, and him being politically active. Then, we got on this succubi. We tore her ass out the frame. Tony Maceo gave us the blueprint on that 75. A young C Boogie, I still like to hunt. I'm a knuckle dragon primate when I need to be. But I'm dead serious. I'm a knuckle dragon primate if I need to get out here. Man. But yo, man, this was a 5-panel, man. Everybody showed me love, very humble. Thanks for all the super chats. Everybody to show love. That's it though, man. Hopefully, man, jump back on the live stream start next week, man. So y'all have a safe weekend. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. Peace.
Peace.
All right. Have a nice one.
See Boogie, I'm gonna hit you up. All right.
All right. Pete. Okay.
All right.